disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Then let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lobito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is a good friend, Mr. BDA, and we've got a whole bunch of things to talk about. A couple of hot little fights last night and on Friday as well. We're going to talk all about that. Disappointments galore, perhaps. A couple of knockouts, a couple of good fights, and I do mean a whole lot of shenanigans with the commentary crew on ESPN. We're going to talk about all of that and more. Before we do that, fellas, you know the drill. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. All right. Hold on a second. Why do I got the phone number up there? There we go. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you want to donate a couple of shekels or wave with the super chat, you can certainly do so. But it's better if you join the BDA membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. But like I said, the most important thing is that you continue to like and subscribe. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. I'm talking about Hand Flawed Boxing Review, Darth Vader, Timothy Figueroa. Shout out to Timothy. Donut, Soothsayer in the house as well. The Quags. Shout out to the Quags. X-Ray Vision, Alejandro Solis, King Bucho in there as well. Black Lomachenko. How many more people to come? I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you dropping by. All right. So let's start with the New Yorker in honor of the Puerto Rican Day Parade, which I believe was yesterday or it might be today. I don't know. Edgar Berlanga got past the hard-punching Romer Alexis Angulo, but don't tell that to people because there's a lot of boxing fans out there that seem to be indifferent to his win and are actually more upset about the scorecards. Because, well, let's break it down. For anybody that didn't see the fight, Berlanga boxed off the back foot against Angulo. And Angulo is a heavy puncher, but still, you would expected Berlanga, who has firepower of his own, to maybe stand in the pocket a little bit more, or maybe just, throw combinations. In any event, he spent much of his time in the back foot, really trying to work that jab. And he ended up getting the decision, a lackluster decision, by scores of, check this out, 98-92 and 99-91. Twice. Two scorecards of 99-91. A lot of people were upset by that decision. I'm curious to hear what you people have to say about it. In any event, Berlanga after the fight said that he was happy with the win. He said he had fun. I bet you the audience can't say the same about that. But at least say he had fun. And if I look at the CompuBox numbers here, where are they? There we go. This via ESPN. Paints the picture of the fight here for super middleweights. Berlanga threw 423 shots. I'm telling you, very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Economical with his output. Angulo, highly economical, 354. He landed 79 shots, whereas Berlanga landed 108. And Berlanga threw 261 shots and jabs and landed 50 jabs. That means that half of his arsenal landed were jabs. So I can certainly understand and appreciate Berlanga trying to box against a heavy puncher. But here's the problem, fellas. Berlanga also fought the same tentative and boring manner when he fought Steve Rolls. Now, again, we as boxing fans, we tend to be spoiled because we watch the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So when you look at a guy like Berlanga that's been overhyped and then he delivers this type of performances, you can't help but feel very, 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 very disappointed. And look, Berlanga is not a bad fighter, but there's levels in boxing. And so far, when he fought the Argentinian guy, Caceres was a decent fighter, very wily. He gave Billy Joe Saunders a lot of trouble, but at least Billy Joe Saunders stopped him. And Billy Joe Saunders is no one's idea of a big puncher. But you go, okay, Berlanga really screwed his face up. So, all right, at least he did that. He did some damage. Then he fights Steve Rolls, whom Golovkin took out in under 5 rounds, I believe. I think 4. So you go, all right, well, it's Golovkin. It's an all-time great there. He's one of the top middleweights. All right, there's no shame in that. He's still learning, Berlanga, right? He's a young fighter. Now he takes this guy, Angulo, who got the crap beat out of him by Benavides. And you're thinking, well, there you go. That's Berlanga's level. He's just not going to be the best super middleweight in the world or light heavyweight if he ever moves up. Maybe, what? Actually, scratch that. Never say never. We've seen crazier things there. Maybe one day he could pull off an upset against a weak, let's say a guy with no chin comes along and wins the lineal championship in one of those divisions. Maybe Berlanga could take him out. But I think at best he would be sort of a one-hit wonder. I do not see, and I think at this point a lot of people have seen it. A lot of people already were convinced that he wasn't all that great after the Steve Rolls fight. So this one was just a little bit of a confirmation for a lot of people. I tell you what, though, that was nothing, though. Berlanga claims he had fun, like I said. Good for him. I wish I could say the same. But that wasn't really the worst thing that happened in this fight. Check this out. Well, first of all, what did he say after the fight? Oh, okay. I wanted to get some quotes in here. But I think I know you guys know where I'm going with this. At some point, he was fighting Angulo. He wasn't liking it that much. Angulo wasn't giving him that many openings. Nice tight guard. Good parrying work from Angulo. And then Berlanga went ahead and did this. Look at that. It actually looks very gay. Looks like he's trying to kiss him in the neck. But anyway, he wasn't trying to kiss him. He was trying to bite him. Look at that. Even Angulo goes, whoa. It's not the way we do things in Colombia. What the fuck? You gotta at least give me a little small bowl of, small bowl of cocaine if you're gonna do that. Numb the pain a little bit. What the heck? Now, here's what Mungia had to say about that little move that he just did there. Little Dracula. The Puerto Rican Dracula. He travels in a car with 20 other people. All right, here's what Berlanga had to say about that. Well, first of all, he said, mentally I felt good. I felt happy. Talking about the fight, not about the bite. I felt happy the whole training camp. I moved the training camp to Puerto Rico and I can't be more grateful to be on my island training. I did a full camp for this fight and you see the difference tonight. Oh, yeah. We certainly saw the difference, that's for sure. It was fun, he said. I had to stick to the game plan. Angulo's a tough veteran. He fought for the title 2 times. He fought Benavides, he fought Zurdo Ramirez, and I knew it wasn't going to be an easy contest. Now, as for the bite, he said he was throwing elbows, talking about Angulo. I was about to do a Mike Tyson on him. He kept throwing his elbows, and I didn't want to get cut. Now, look, listen, I'm all for fighters being dirty when another guy is being dirty to them. You got to know how to be dirty in return. But I'd have to rewatch the fight and see if he actually really did, if he was getting elbowed. Actually, scratch that. I'm not going to rewatch this fight. Why would I want to rewatch it? I mean, listen, the problem with Berlanga is he's got a heavy arsenal. You cannot deny that. Undeniable. But he's not throwing combinations in there. It's one punch at a time. It's jab, jab, jab. Now, again, Angulo's a tough puncher. So that's what a lot of people were saying. Timothy Bradley was saying that during the telecast. He goes, hey, listen, you guys aren't taking the punches in there. Fair enough. But what was the excuse against Steve Rolls then? Because that was the same lack of output he showed in that fight. I'm a little disappointed in that output, or lack thereof, against both Rolls and against this guy, against Angulo. And Angulo, by the way, how old is Angulo? Is he 35 or something? Way past his peak. Well, maybe not way past, but I mean, he's a tricky contender. But, and this is where leads me to this. How is Berlanga going to be dealing with some of the top super middleweights? Now, Eric Bazinian, by the way, 27-0, 21 knockouts. A lot of people go, who is this guy? He's out of Montreal. He's got a good amateur record, solid amateur Canadian amateur record. I think he won the nationals a bunch of times, which isn't easy, but in the international scope, it's not, it's not like winning a U.S. national and I don't know if he actually even made it to some sort of international competition or Pan American. Lerone Richards, I'm not familiar with him. David Morrell. Now, here's the other thing that I just got reminded of. David Morrell and Benavides, they're not fighting stellar opposition themselves, but at least they're looking good. At least they're blowing the opposition out, and that's the thing with this guy here, Berlanga. He's not doing that. He's not looking spectacular anymore. So again, you got to wonder what exactly is going on here. What's his ceiling? And his ceiling, it appears to be very limited. Very limited indeed. Let's see what people are saying in the chat room real quick. Some rando says, Bazinian is Armenian. He just lives and fights out of Canada. Though he's been in Canada for a while. Actually, I think was he born in Canada, or technically he's Canadian. I think he spent more time in Canada than Armenia. But hey, that's good, Armenia. He's got those Armenian genes. That if he's alive right now, he's Armenian. That means his ancestors got those genocide survival genes. So that's very good. Should have a lot of heart. Larry Liston says, feed him to Lemieux or Zach Parker. I think he's talking about Berlanga. Shout out to the Don, by the way. The Don was on fire last night on White Rapids channel. Shout out to White Rapids as well. Everybody was on fire there. The Don especially. The Don is very good at connecting the dots. He cuts right through the BS and he sees the things that we're all missing. So shout out to the Don. Muller27 says, Angulo likes the rough. Okay, what the fuck? Blame Trick says 38. He's 38, Angulo? Whoa. He's an old fella. Almost past, almost close to being shot, I would say. Larry Liston says he's the super middleweight. Wilder, not even, because hey, listen, at least Wilder, you got to give Wilder credit. When he was fighting AKA bombs, he was taking them out. Berlanga's not doing that anymore. And okay, listen, I'm not going to call Angulo a bomb. I'm not going to call Steve Rolls a bomb. Rolls had some craft in there. But he didn't even wobble Rolls. I don't think he even visibly hurt him during that fight. One foot out the door says Berlanga fighting for pride. Yeah, gay pride. X-Ray Vision says Mike Tyson did it to an all-time great. Berlanga did it to Angulo. Yeah, well, I keep mixing up Mungia and Berlanga, by the way. I think it's because they both end with an A. Shout out to the Don. Box screen says the scorecards were obscene. Well, that's the other thing. Again, let's go back to the CompuBox here. According to CompuBox, where is it here? According to CompuBox, Berlanga did outline Angulo. Not by much, but throughout the fight, maybe if you spread it out. Actually, in fact, wasn't there a point during the fight, I think it was in the 6th or 7th round, where Angulo was actually ahead on the power punches? Power punches, not total connects. Again, that jab was being snapped there from Berlanga. But I think Angulo was actually landing more power shots. Let's see here. Total punches landed. Okay, here we go. Power landed. Yeah, Angulo landed more power shots. If that means anything to you. Now, again, I don't know how that spread out through the fight. But, yeah, man, it wasn't a solid performance from Berlanga. He's just not that guy. And I don't think he's ever going to be. The other thing is, I hate it, and I don't have the clip here, but Berlanga, after the fight, he ended up tasting the last punch of the fight, a big right hand from Angulo. And then Berlanga got in Angulo's face, and he said, he wanted more. He wanted more fight. And that was an indication that the guy was frustrated. You could tell he didn't expect this type of performance. He thought it was going to be fun. And that's just not the way it happened. So he got frustrated in there. Should expect a little bit more. Or actually expect a little bit less. But yeah, he had the goal to go in there and talk shit to Angulo after the fight. Or as soon as the bell landed. Wrong. LL says call him Mung instead. BDA. Yeah, okay. I'll call Berlanga, and I'll call Mungia Mung. That way I won't get it twisted. Earl Stevens says Mungia versus Berlanga. You know, here's the thing about Berlanga. He looks like a solid dude. He looks very big for super middleweight. You can tell he's big boned. I think he's going to be moving up to light heavyweight one of these days. Mungia, he's also a big middleweight. But I don't know. I think he might be a little bit too weak physically for Berlanga. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'd have to see both guys next to each other, and I'll be proven incorrect. The Hand Flow Boxing Review says, some rando. Every Canadian is from somewhere else. You're a country full of immigrants. That's true. Yeah, if you're in Canada and you hear somebody speaking English, you'll probably hear them like myself here with a fucking accent, because I've been all over the place. I'm Mexican, but I'm living in Canada. And then again, I sound like I'm Ukrainian for some reason. So Canada is a mishmash of a bunch of cultures. That's why when people say, BDA, the racism, I cannot be racist. Having lived here for 20-something years, you run into all sorts of people, and I get along with all of them. Errol Stevens says, where's Xander Zayas? Well, Zayas was supposed to fight tonight, or last night rather, but I think he pulled out 2 weeks ago because some sort of an injury, I believe, or a broken heart. I don't know what happened to the guy. Box screen says, Mungia challenged Berlanga after the roll fight. Crickets. Oh, did he? I thought he challenged Charlo. But we're going to get to that. Well, listen, fellas, since I'm flying solo here for the day, or for the moment, maybe it's because I started a little bit earlier than usual, I'm going to open up the phone lines, and you guys can call in, tell us about Berlanga, Mungia, Kyoguchi, or hold on a second, I'm butchering his name. Japanese guy fought on Friday. Very good fight. And by the way, Daniel Dubois also fought last evening, in the afternoon rather, from Florida against Trevor Bryan. Fat Trevor Bryan. I like watching fat heavyweights, let me tell you, especially when they get a little bit of slickness to them. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I liked watching fat James Toney slick it up a couple of decades ago. But of course, Trevor Bryan, unfortunately, no James Toney. He ended up getting face planted against Daniel Dubois. Apparently, Daniel Dubois got a belt now. I didn't even pay attention to it. As soon as I saw a belt and they called him a champ, I tuned out. I had to go do something else. And yeah, apparently Dubois got... Listen, this is what you got to do with guys like Dubois after a loss. You got to match them in there with some relatively weak opposition, get their act together, and get their hopes up. Get their courage back up. Shadow Combat says, Lennox Lewis, best Canadian boxer ever. There you go. Shadow Combat knows what's up. Best Canadian heavyweight ever. Boxer ever. Hands down. England's going to try to claim him. Jamaica's going to try to claim him. But who did he fight for when he won that gold medal, Lennox Lewis? Canada. So that's the way it's always going to be. Blues Boxing says Canada full of snowflakes. Oh, wait a minute. How dare you? No, it is true. There's a whole bunch of snowflakes here. Rusky says, I thought BDA was French-Canadian. Oh, my goodness gracious. People are getting it. I mean, the legends are growing, man. Some people are going to say I'm Filipino next. One foot out the door says, especially the last 10 years, no country for white Canada. Big John says, Mungia challenged Jamal Charlo after the fight. He did indeed. One foot out the door says, didn't the ring look cheap? Yellow and blue colors. You never want to put yellow. Unless you got a fast food restaurant or something, you don't want to use yellow. It looks cheap. It looks weak. And it's low class, if you ask me. I don't know what they were thinking putting yellow in a ring. Even black looks a little bit too weird. But, it's got to be blue, red, maybe gray, the way the Zone was doing it a couple of years ago. But you do not put yellow in a ring. That's just, it's uncalled for. It's uncouth. Mungia said Charlo has huevitos. I don't know, man. I think Charlo's going to cry to Al Heyman. By the way, Al Heyman, Wad Rapid, I got to give a shout out to Wad Rapid again. He was reading off that article that claimed that somebody at Golden Boy had called Heyman the N-word. But what everyone missed was that the guy also called Heyman the Black Hitler. So what's going on with Al Heyman? Is he a black supremacist? How come no one's talking about that? I think Al Heyman, here's the thing, what I think this is what happened. And I got it on off contact, so I'm not sure if this is what actually happened. But somebody said that Heyman was watching the Mungia fight, and that when Mungia was struggling, he was laughing. And then when Mungia stopped, what's his name, Kelly there, whatever, Al Heyman actually screamed Beaner with the hard ER at the end. So I think Al Heyman's got something against Mexicans, man. That's why he matches them tough all the time over there at the PBC. Feeds them and weakens them so that his fighters can look good. Disgusting. Medardo Garcia, shout out to Medardo Garcia for his contribution with the Super Chats. He says, Berlanga is giving me Adrian Broner vibes. Very disappointed. Jeez, Luis, I mean, at least Adrian Broner looked good for a while. When he beat, what was the guy, the name of the, DeMarco. When he beat the crap out of DeMarco, dismantled him, at least he had that win. The heck does Berlanga have? A win over Caceres? That's his best win? Rolls Royce? Fucking Romer Angulo? Who's going to be working in a cocaine factory in a couple of years? Come on. Come on. But yeah, shout out to Medardo Garcia. That's where Berlanga is going to end up. Very, very soon, if you ask me. Very, very soon. Somebody was making fun of Berlanga, by the way, in the chat, in the Discord, saying that he's going to end up in a bodega. And by the way, the type of performance he put forth, that he's, first of all, nobody booed the decision. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the decision. The scorecards, 99-91. So these judges only found one round to give to Angulo. That is disgraceful. That is disgusting. Who's going to stand up for the Colombians if we don't do it? That's why we got... I'm telling you, we're writing the BDA gospel right now. The true path to the Crimson Cross does not include shitty scorecards like that. Okay? You guys got to help me out here. I can't do it all by myself. But the Puerto Ricans weren't booing that decision. They should have. And I'm telling you something. I got a bodega owner speeding in Berlanga's Torta next week because of that bad performance. It wasn't. I think most Puerto Ricans though don't get it twisted though. Puerto Ricans still have Xander Zayas and they still got Shakur Stevenson right now as the top two Puerto Rican fighters. Shakur Stevenson and Xander Zayas. Well, I understand Zayas is still a prospect, but he's certainly looking much better than Berlanga does. It's weird with Berlanga, man. It's weird because he was looking like a monster early on. And even like I said, against Caceres, okay, he got dropped, but he really screwed Caceres' face up. It made me think, okay, Caceres made it the distance, but he paid the price. And I think that's what's going to happen with Berlanga down the line. And then Steve Rolls comes along. He walks away looking clean as a pixie after that fight. And now we've got Angulo standing right in front of Berlanga, backing him up. And again, walks away clean. I don't know what's going on, fellas. Berlanga seems to be regressing. And, I always remember what Steve Kim said when he was here, that I think even Top Rank was saying, look, these guys, they got it on good authority that he's just not taking his career seriously, training-wise. And maybe this is what's going on here. He's not developing as a fighter because he's not training properly, perhaps. Maybe he's not in there. I don't know. Listen, we can come up with a whole bunch of speculation and excuses about why he's not looking good. The point is, the proof's in the pudding. He is not looking good. So that's enough about Berlanga. Let me open up the phone lines and then we're going to get to Mungia. Oh, wait a minute. Phone lines are open. I just haven't activated them. Yeah, so call in, fellas. Give us your thoughts on Berlanga and Mungia. What's next for both of them? What you think of their performances? And I want to talk a little bit. Well, there's other news too going on. There's a whole bunch of other news here coming up. We've got Joshua Usyk. Apparently, it's been announced. There was a rumor that Keith Thurman and Jaron Ennis had agreed to a fight. Then apparently it was from a troll account. More talk of Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Supposedly that's going to fight. But go check out the Don's videos. It might just be another illusion to keep us monkeys entertained, thinking that this fight is actually going to happen. Stay tuned, fellas. Stay tuned. Hey, you know what? We really did try to make that Spence Crawford fight, guys. We really tried to make it, but it's just not going to happen. But hey, guys, we got Crawford versus fucking Amir Khan 2 or something. Watch that one and get ready for Crawford Spence. That's going to happen next year. That's what they're thinking. That's the way they're planning it. And you know what? I'm not going to take it anymore. Hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out, like King Butcher said. All right, phone lines are open. Call in. Make sure to call in. Give us your thoughts on Mungia, Berlanga, and what's next for both of those guys, and whatever else you want to talk about, if you want to. Now, let's get on to Mungia. Because again, Berlanga, he's going to either lose the decision next or get caught with something down the line. But I'm not expecting big things from him anymore. And look, listen, some people could say, oh, come on, BDA, why you got to turn on him like that? It's 3 lackluster performances in a row, and apparently he's not even taking boxing seriously. So as paying customers, why should we take him seriously? It's like if you go to a diner and you ask for apple pie, you really got some hankering for some apple pie, and they give you shitty apple pie. You're gonna pretend that it's good. You paid for it. Why you gotta pretend? It's why you gotta be polite? There's no room for politeness here. And speaking of politeness, what about Tim Bradley laughing at that African fighter that died? Now, some people are saying that he apologized the next round. He said, "I didn't know he'd passed away." I don't know. I don't know. How couldn't he have known? Doesn't this guy follow boxing? I don't know. I thought he was. What's next? Are they going to play videos of Asian people getting attacked in New York and laugh about it? Look at that old woman getting pushed in front of a train. I think that was despicable, and I think ESPN needs to do something about it. Maybe they need to suspend Tim Bradley, some sort of sanction on him. Shout out to the Texas Bulldog Boxing. He says the cards were trash. Berlanga's face tells the story. See, actually, you know what? The feed cut before they even announced the score, because I actually had to catch it on the internet with the comment section on Discord, so I didn't see Berlanga's face, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was relieved to hear those scorecards. But 91-98. What the heck was that? Like that, those are they already had the scorecards penciled in, and you gotta wonder why Bob Arum still wants to keep this guy around. I asked Bucho that. I asked Bucho yesterday. I said, "Do you think they're gonna feed him to somebody now?" But who is there at 168 or 175 that Top Rank could feed him to, and finally get it over with, get back something, their money back. But that's the other thing. Can you get your money back if you sign a prospect? I don't know. What are people saying in the chat? Some rando says, #Stop Asian Hate. Absolutely. I don't know why more people aren't speaking up about that. Super Sardonic says, BD, did you see that video of that Asian guy getting jumped in the subway? I did not, and I have no inclination to watch it. I've seen enough of those every week. Something like that's happening, and people are just sitting on their thumbs over there in New York, doing nothing about it. Nothing. Joe, shout out to Joe in the chat, says, Tim Bradley is the worst. Oh yeah, Joe was sending me messages last night on Discord, telling me what he thought about Tim Bradley's commentating skills. He says Tim Bradley is the worst. He sucks. He has no personality. He's making fights unwatchable. I wouldn't go that far, but Joe's not the first guy I've heard complaining about Tim Bradley. Peter Von Rax says playing the Ukrainian national anthem before a US heavyweight fight was weird. Oh, did they play it? I didn't notice that. Which fight was that, Peter? That would have been weird. One Foot Out the Door says Roof Koreans saved LA in 92 riots. They certainly did. They would have been jailed now. If that would have happened today, they would have been jailed. They probably would have been given the death penalty by hanging, just to make an example out of them. Box Screen says Arum and Berlanga is the American version of the Verguillas YouTube series and his promoter. People want shit, I'll sell them shit. people. Well, what was it? P.T. Barnum with the infamous line, there's a sucker born every minute. And I think that's what... No, but listen, I think Top Rank even knows that this guy... I mean, Steve Kim was tweeting that apparently didn't even sell that well. And I told MMA champ in the Discord, I said, MMA champ, if you're in the vicinity of New York, try to go to the fight. They're probably going to slash the prices less than half. So I don't know if he went. I don't think he did. All right, people are going on and on about Asian hate. I got them all riled up. Let me check the phone lines. All right, nobody's calling in. What the fuck? People call in. All right, if no one's going to call in, let's get down to the Mungia fight. I was going to call him Mungia. Jaime Mungia last night taking on Jimmy Kilrain Kelly, who looked a little bit like Spike O'Sullivan. And I think he wanted revenge for good old Spike, who ended up getting stopped, I believe, by Mungia a couple of years ago. So Jimmy Kimmel, that's what people were calling him. Jimmy Kimmel actually fought a good fight. He was exposing some of Mungia's liabilities in there. What were those liabilities, you may ask? Well, how about the fact that he didn't feint all that much? He wasn't setting his shots properly. He wasn't jabbing enough. And he wasn't going to the body enough. He was headhunting. And those first 3 rounds, I was watching this fight and I said, ooh, boy, we got an upset on our hands. But then Mungia, via his trainer, Eric Morales, started going to the body. Morales told him, ya deja de mamarte y échale, fucking down the middle. Start with the jab down the middle. And that's what Mungia did. He started going to the body, and whoops, wouldn't you know it, he opened up the avenue upstairs. That's the way you do it, fellas. If you can't hit a guy upstairs, go to the body. Body. You freeze a guy, and then you end up having a shot upstairs. But for some reason, all these guys that they're trying to... So at least Mungia made those adjustments. But it was a tale of two fights, really. First 3 rounds, he was getting outboxed. He was looking bad in there. He was looking flummoxed. But then he showed you what a good trainer can do for you. He made the adjustments and he took him out. Now, you gotta wonder what's next for him. What is next for Jaime Munguia? Are they gonna put him in there with Charlo? Is that what they're gonna try to do? And if they do, how does that fight go? Because let me tell you something. I saw Munguia trading in there, looking a little... I thought he was open during those exchanges for some hard shots. He was lucky Jimmy Kelly wasn't a hard puncher. Then again, there's a flip side to that coin. Charlo looked awful against Montiel. Couldn't take Montiel out. Now, Montiel's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more loosey-goosey than Munguia, but Munguia is also stronger and he hits hard. So how would that fight go? Anybody that tells you that they're picking Charlo with the utmost of confidence against Munguia, I don't think they're being honest. I don't think they're being honest. All right, let's go to a phone call here. Don't forget to call in. The phone number is in the left-hand middle portion of your screen. So let's go to 301. 301, you're on the air. 301, what's on your mind?
Hey, BDA.
What's up?
Flying solo today.
Yeah, I am. Who is this, by the way?
Call in and give you some content, I guess, while there's no one else on. I watched the Mungia fight later, and I noticed he has a big kind of mental lapse. I'd say is a big problem because he's got all the tools. It seems like when he moves, his movement's pretty fluid, but his issue is he can't do 2 things at once. You know what I mean? He commits to movement and he looks good, but then when he wants to attack, he lunges in and forgets all his fundamentals. So he's just a very low IQ fighter. I think that's his problem, basically, because he's young, right? He should still have very good reflexes, but he doesn't seem to have any awareness or respect for his opponent's power. Honestly, I think they're going to put him in with Liam Williams next. Because he's had 2 rough fights, but he's been a durable guy, and they're going to keep trying to test him to see, selectively increasing the pressure, and I think that's kind of the next fight for him. Because I think Golden Boy didn't want to make the Charlo fight, honestly. I don't think they actually cared too much about which platform it would have been on. They probably could have made money either way, but I don't think they believe in Munguia, so unless Charlo or Andre have a really bad performance, not a bad performance that he had against Montiel. If they look rocked and hurt, they look like they lost a step. I don't think that a Golden Boy will risk it because of the age difference between them.
Well, first of all, that's a very good point about the way you put it. You said that he can do 2 things at the same time, and that's what differentiates good boxers from great boxers, the fact that they're able to do everything automatically at the same time, simultaneously. Munguia just doesn't seem to do that. But by the way, Munguia called out Jermall Charlo. Now, a lot of people are always going on and on about call-outs. Oh, he called him out. Do you think they're going to keep the same energy and besmirch Charlo for not responding to that call-out?
You mean the fans or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I don't think so. I think the fan bases are what they are. We understand the motivations behind them. Who's honestly a fan of Jermall Charlo, the boxer? Do you know what I mean? His career, right? The last impressive thing he did was knock out Julian Williams in 2015.
Yeah, that's the jewel in his crown right there. And by the way, I'm entertained by him outside the ring. When he gets coked up and he looks like he's about to cry outside the ring for whatever thing he believes that is going after him now. Yeah, that's interesting. Hey, what'd you think about Berlanga, by the way?
Oh man, Berlanga is I look forward to his fights because I know I'm going to sleep soundly. Because he's just gonna bore me to sleep every single time that I fail. It's been a great stretch. I had Devin Haney a week or 2 ago. I fell asleep in the 6th round. This time, nodded off a little bit afterwards. I just turned off, the screen right after the fight ended. Man, I mean, Berlanga is right. He has Tank Davis face. He looks like he's drunk. all the time. And so he just, in that style of fighter, like he's just regressing every time. And you can see like the Fat Joe interviews, they come out without fail every time after he fights. You can just see his disappointment going more and more. Like he was more on edge this time. Like the reporter was asking, like, "Are you satisfied?" And he cuts him off. Like, "Yeah, I'm satisfied. What's he supposed to do? He went out there, he boxed, he did what he had to do." That's what all the fans say when they they have no excuse for the fighter's performance. They say he sorry.
The fuck are you okay, man? Sound like you're dying.
Yeah, just something caught in my throat. My bad. Yeah, they just say like he did what he had to do. So that's a telltale sign that even the fans know the guy is washed up. But what I really wanted to talk to you about was the Haney fight, because I haven't called in a while. Don't you feel like it's a matter of time before he gets in there with a ref that just isn't going to play his bullshit? Because I've never seen someone honestly like bend over at the waist like that, his head almost going below his waist, and then go for a clinch. Like that's not a clinch, that's a takedown.
Yeah, man.
That's,
I mean,
at least Floyd, right? At least Floyd would disguise his clinches to where you could have to argue it wasn't clear who was initiating, and if the opponent relaxed, he would hit him. Like Devin Haney has no interest in working on the inside at all. He's literally just holding the opponent. It's just pathetic, Like that's just a clear violation of the rules. I don't understand how there isn't more controversy about this, or more people aren't calling him out.
The rules are clear for everybody except for the referees. For some reason, the referees they pick and choose when they want to apply the rules, especially as it pertains to clinching. They love some of these refs. They love to see a guy clinch, man. I don't know. I think they get off on it. It's their fetish watching two shirtless men clinching. But you're absolutely right. Listen.
Yeah.
Mungia, say what you want about the guy. Some people are calling him Bumgia. He showed you how you take a fighter out, even if you're struggling. This is what you do when you don't have a ref. Now, when you have the ref on your side, you can pot shot your way to a decision, clinch your way to a decision, bark while you're punching. So, I mean, hey, listen, it's different worlds, man. Different worlds. But listen, we do have to move on to another call here. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, did you see Berlanga bit the guy or something?
Yeah.
I heard that on the broadcast. Like, what the hell was that? He looks like a scared kid in there, honestly. I don't think he actually wants to fight. Like, I think he was just like a bully,
Yeah,
like he's the type of guy who, if things go his way and he can knock you out, then he feels confident. But it's a very thin veneer. I think I saw like one of the promos about him, and he was like crying about his dad going to prison. And I think that kind of let me know like what his character is like. Like he's not there to challenge himself. He's not there to try to be better. He's just there to like show people up. And like it was great because they had Xander Zayas there in the same room as him, and he was almost like a perfect foil to him. Like Berlanga was like iced out. He had like a bunch of chains. He had basically his career earnings, in quickly diminishing assets on him. And Xander Zayas was there in like a sweatshirt and shorts. It looks like he spent like $50 on his wardrobe. And he's like,
hey, listen, I don't judge.
He looks like he was ready to fight.
I don't judge people based on how they dress. I wear fucking work clothes, Dickies everywhere I go. So I don't besmirch anybody how they dress. But listen, if I were Berlanga, here's what I would do. If somebody criticizes me for the bite, I would say, look, listen, I just got diagnosed with an iron deficiency. It's a disease. I had the hankering for some blood. Yeah. Don't blame me. Blame the disease. If you're blaming me for it, then you might as well blame people for being in a wheelchair. And that is what do they call it? Ableism. That's right. Ableism.
Exactly. That's the word of the day. Yeah. Always with a new victim ideology.
That's right. That's what we do over here.
We gotta rise above.
We gotta rise above.
They had like these posters back when I was in university. They had like rise above ableism, rise above like. I don't know, like there was like 50 of them all over the place. I had no idea.
Rise above rape. That was the one they had 7 years ago. Rise above rape, because there were supposedly one out of
rape.
One out of 5 women were getting raped.
There was this one like rape sensitivity poster, and it had this like hilarious typo where it said like, "Would you say that if you knew I had my family raped?"
What? All right. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, man.
Like they didn't proofread the poster or whatever.
Well, listen.
It's so funny.
Well, listen, caller, we do have to move on to other calls, but thank you for your call. Highly entertaining, very good points. Call back next time, all right, man?
Yep. All right.
All
Have
right.
a good Sunday, BDA.
Take it easy. You too, man.
All right. Take care.
Rise above rape. I mean, what is that? Isn't that what the rapist does? He rises above and stays on top of you. All right, let's go to another phone call. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Let's go to another phone call here. 612. You're on the air. 612. What's on your mind?
Hey, BDA, can you hear me clearly?
Oh, Tin Man. What's up, man?
What's up, BDA? Happy Sunday. So before I go on this rant, I'd just like to say something that I'm just a couch potato who probably get knocked out by every single fighter that fought this weekend.
Uh-huh.
But since I pay for my ESPN Plus subscription and DAZN subscription, I think I have some right to rant on these fighters when they give garbage performances. So before I start, let me congratulate Matt Boy for that incredible knockout. That ref was almost going to rob him. I think one more headbutt and would have disqualified Matt Boy out of his championship. So kudos to Matt Boy.
Wait. Just for people that don't know, you're talking about Kyoguchi? Are you talking about Kyoguchi?
Yeah, Kyoguchi. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what. His nickname is Mad Boy. So. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So So kudos to him. I think that card was also good. Let me just say the top rank card was horrible. I mean, most of the fights were garbage. And Berlanga, I tell you, before the thing, I think Bernard Osuna said that he worked on cutting off the ring. Why the hell do you need to cut off the ring against a pressure fighter? I don't understand that. And the second thing is, when you're fighting a pressure fighter, you got to fight in the inside. I don't know why they didn't learn on if he was elbowing, why didn't you elbow him back? I mean, there's plenty of now. There's no excuse for not studying film of fighters like Duran or Chocolatito. There are so many excellent fighters. Even I think Fondura, the new guys Fondura and what's the other guy's name who fought Fulton, the tall guy Figueroa. They're excellent inside fighters. I mean, for their height, I mean, they're tall fighters, but they really know how to fight in the inside. So, I don't know, Berlanga should focus less on his chains and rappers and his girlfriend, and he should focus more on training. Next, we'll go to the Golden Boy card, because for whatever we abuse Oscar De La Hoya, he puts up some excellent cards. I mean, the fights on his undercards are superb. I forget the main event, but his undercards were great, including the women's fight. So, kudos to that guy Ortiz. That Ortiz, if you remember, he was actually knocked out by Blair the Flair Cobbs on the Canelo undercard, and he came back and knocked out a prospect. So that's great for him. And I think the co-main event, the guy knocked out another guy knocked a potential a good. He kind of pulled off an upset by knocking him out in the first round. So I think that Castaneda was supposed to give him trouble, but he got knocked out in the first round. Mm-hmm. So kudos to that guy as well. I don't see a high ceiling for Mungia. I think any of the middleweights knock him out. Especially someone like a Janibek would wipe him out in probably 2 to 3 rounds. The guy, I mean, if you're not, it's just a common rule that you need to hit the body of a mover. And Mungia is a good body puncher. I don't know why he acted like a tube light and Eric Morales had to tell him to go to the body.
Well.
So those are, and one last thing, I'd like to thank King Bucho for making that video about Devin Haney.
Oh.
That's very true. All undisputed champions are not created equal. And just because you respect the sweet sign doesn't mean you have to appreciate a boring fight or someone who's constantly clinching after letting off his 1-2. So that's my opinion. I'll let you guys go.
Tin Man, always appreciate you calling in, always with the hot takes. You call De La Coke. So good for you on this Sunday. You're not pulling any punches. Catch you on the next one, right? Tin Man, take it easy, man.
Take care. Take care.
You
Take
too,
care.
man.
Bye.
All right. Let me read a couple of super chats here before I continue with the phone calls. Shout out to Steve Munoz for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Were you being genuine when you said Al Heyman was calling Mungia a beaner?" Listen, I didn't hear him say it. I didn't watch him say it, but I heard he said it. Take it with a grain of salt. But I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, the way he matches up and tenderizes his Mexicans and then offers them up as sacrificial lambs to his fighters, would you be surprised? I certainly wouldn't. Shout out to Steve for his contribution, and shout out to Michael Buford. Michael Buford for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, Alicia gonna lose. Top rank scorecards are trash. Alicia? Who's Alicia? It's probably some female boxer they got over their top rank. It's all they're all Irish female boxers or black female boxers. That's the way they line them up over there too.
I think they're talking about Alicia Baumgartner.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Jimmy, by the way. Jimmy, what's up, man?
Yo. What's up, brothers?
Let me get to the phone calls here, and then I want to get your thoughts on the two fights last night. I had a lot to say about Berlanga, by the way, but I'm not gonna rehash it all. I'll make it brief. But anyway, let's go to. Shout out to everybody that donated the super chat, by the way. Hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to 972. You're on the air. 972. What's on your mind?
Hey, we went on BDA.
What's up, 972?
How you doing, fellas? Yeah, I thought I'd call in real quick and just give my take on the three main topics today. First off with Mungia. I feel like at first he was having a hard time with Kelly because I was kind of expecting the early stoppage. We kind of made plans and we kind of anticipated to leave very early into the fight, but it ended up we stayed a little longer and he did end up getting the guy out of there. Yeah, he did struggle a little bit, so I think it's pretty apparent that Mungia is a protected fighter, and they say they want to give him the big fights, but, you know, at this point I feel like we'll believe it when we see it. Those fights haven't really come to fruition yet, and it's hard to believe that they will. And it's hard to say if he's ready looking like that. As far as Berlanga, I got to be honest, man. ESPN, the judges, they should be deeply ashamed of that. Those cards were not that close. Berlanga's face was clearly bruised up immediately after the fight, while Angulo was looking pretty clean. He pressured majority of the fight, if not all the fight. And I know he was having success because, I mean, Berlanga had a few good shots as well, but I know Angulo was having success as well because I saw him myself, and as well as at times when I would walk away to go do something else, my brother was still watching, like, oh shit, he's hitting him with uppercuts. Oh shit, he's hitting him with lefts. Like, oh damn. So Angulo did have success. They clearly robbed him. He was about to fuck up the money, and ESPN should be ashamed. The judges should be fired, but we know it's not going to happen. And finally, saw there's some other people call in. Finally, on the third topic, I feel like Haney's kind of right. The pound for pound list is just basically an opinionated list of fighters that people like. There's not really a good explanation why Jermell Charlo isn't on the list, but a beltless Lomachenko with 2 losses is still on the list, even though he's not actively fighting. So he has a point there. It doesn't really matter, though. The pound for pound list it's always been subjective. It's a imaginary list that changes from time to time. And eventually, we're not going to have enough room on that list for all the good fighters that are active. But that's just my thing, man. I'll let some other people call in. It won't take too much more of your time. Thanks for taking my call.
Well, thank you for calling in. Call 972. Great points and nice, concise call, man. You really had it all, in a tight little package there, 972. Call back next time, right, man?
Tight.
Oh, will do.
All right, fantastic. Good to hear from you. Enjoy your Sunday. Let's go to another phone call here. Yeah, it was a tight call. I was even actually going to say, did you have it all written down? But it just seemed like he already had his points very well articulated there. So shout out to him. That's the type of phone call I like. All right, let's go to another phone call. 956, you're on the air. 956, what's on your mind?
Yo, man. Edgar Berlanga's a fucking dog, bro. I'm telling y'all right now, you motherfucking dog. Because he was dirty. I like him dirty. He ain't no fucking Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez get clean, get his ass beat. Valdez ain't do shit. Berlanga will bite you in the fucking neck like a dog, bro. That's the type of shit I like. I thought Edgar Berlanga lost. I thought he lost, but he's a fucking dog. And that's the type of guy I want to work with. I want to build him up. Hey, it's still Edgar Berlanga all day. You know, he sucks, but guess what? He has potential. He has potential. I'll say that. He has potential. It was a bad night. I'm still Berlanga all day. Because, one, he's naturally powerful. He just doesn't have the right technique. He's never on balance. But he has the potential. And he's a fucking dog, bro. He's a dog. He's an animal. I like him dirty. He's rough. I like him like that. So you know what? Berlanga's the future. It's still Edgar Berlanga. Hey, and if all y'all hitting on Berlanga, guess what? In about 5 years, y'all going to be wishing y'all was on the train. Is Edgar Berlanga about to get fucking crazy, bro? I'm telling y'all right now. Edgar Berlanga next fight, he about to knock Jesse Hart the fuck out. I want Jesse Hart next. Let's go, bro. Y'all sleep on Edgar Berlanga. Berlanga's fucking ready, bro. You know, and Jaime Mungia is trash. Now I can see why they didn't make that fight with Charlo with Jaime Mungia. Man, Mungia sucks, bro.
Well, there you have it. Nice, concise call right there as well. Another nice, concise call, straight to the point, and you're one of the few Berlanga fans out there that is still going on. Anything else you want to say before you move on?
Nah, bro. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you, man. And keep call back next time, man. Keep doing your thing. All right, take it easy, man. Enjoy your Sunday. Yeah, man. Hey, he said, he's got a good point though. That's what I said earlier. I said, when you're doing that type of stuff and somebody's doing dirty shit to you, you do dirty shit right back at them. And the caller is right. Berlanga, he got that dog. Literally, he acts like a fucking dog. In fact, let's replay that bite. Hold on a second. Where is it here? And then we'll continue on with the phone calls. I want to show people what the caller was referencing here. There we go. Look at that. Oof. Nice little bite right there. Angulo goes, what is this? What's going on? Hold on a second. Look at that. Taking a nice old bite out of Angulo. All right. Hold on a second. Where are we at here? Wait a minute. You guys aren't even watching what I'm saying, are you? Hold on a second. Where's my fucking... There we go. Look at that. He went at him. Try to take a bite. And by the way, you can't really bite somebody with a mouthpiece. I think Tyson, when he beat Holyfield, he took the mouthpiece out, I think. Or he only got a small chunk because of the mouthpiece. I don't know, but I don't know what this guy was thinking about. The quack says we don't want to see it. Well, you're going to see it. That's why I'm showing it to you. You're going to see it. Even if I have to do some Clockwork Orange stuff on you and force you to watch it. All right, let's go to another phone call. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to 347. 347, you're on the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, B.A.?
Oh,
he
mate,
likes
champ.
it dirty, he likes it rough. Hey, yo, pause the week. But anyway, let's get back to Bodega Longa, Uberlanga, Bumlanga. I mean, he got beat by a 38-year-old cartel member. I mean, this is sad. Nursing home, cartel member. This is sad, bro. But listen, Bumlanga, it's all those times hanging out with what's his name, Fat Ass Joe. Like, come on, bro. What do you expect? Hang out with dudes like that. So I mean, it's not gonna make you a better fighter. And I saw he doing this after party called at some place called Little Tijuana. With this rapper named Young Chibi or whatever. Sounds like Black Chibi, bro. Like, come on, man. He's not even in the, game. I mean, it's Berlanga. He's a bum. But let's get back to Mungia fighting this guy named the Irish Jimmy Kimmel or something, bro. It's ridiculous, disgusting fight. He's getting pieced up, but it's what you get. Oscar de la Fishnet, Oscar de la Coca, or like, come on, this is what you get. When you keep having to fight bums, soon enough you're going to get exposed. And at the end of the day, right, why are people like Bucho, can you still hear me, DJ?
What'd you say about Butcher? I didn't catch it. What?
Yeah, you can still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I said about Bucho, right, I saw him on What Rapid, the CCD gang, and they were talking about Mungia, right, and Bucho was like, yeah, he gets hit a lot or whatever, but, I think he's the real deal. But one dude was talking about Haney, and everything, but Haney doesn't get hit that much and everything, but you don't like, come on, bro, it's ridiculous. He gets hit. Imagine if GGG hits, hits Mungia with the shot Jimmy Kimmel punched Mungia with. Mungia would be done on the floor. It would have been dead. But listen, at the end of the day, with Oscar De La Cokehead and old Golden Girl Promotions, I think they need to sell it. At the end of the day, it's disgusting. All of their fighters are fighting bums. Look at Queen Ryan. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous.
Well, there you go. That's MMA Champ's call. Keeping it nice and concise as always. By the way, King Bucho says he never said Mungia is the real deal. So that's what Bucho's saying in the chat. So I think Bucho said that, yeah, he's got defensive liabilities, but the fact that he comes forward, he's always going to try to take the other guy out. He's not going to get on the back foot and wait for the best. That's what he was trying to get at. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 978. You're on the air. 978. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, how you doing? It's Dennis from Boston.
Oh, Dennis, what's up, man?
Dennis.
Hey, I'm doing good. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, so I was calling to just make one point. I actually bet on Berlanga last night by KO, and he was doing all that moving in boxing, and I just think some of the responsibility for his display, and I don't know, I kind of tuned in late, so I don't know if anybody talked about this, but he was getting scolded in between rounds by his trainer.
Yeah.
And that's when I really knew I was in trouble, because whenever he'd sit in the pocket, any rounds, and there were a few rounds, like you could tell Berlanga was getting tired like the 8th round, and he sat in the pocket, and then close to the end of the fight, he was after the 9th round, when he came back, the trainer was screaming at him, "What are you doing trying to knock him out? What are you trying to do him?" And I swear to God, I could hear Berlanga say, "But they're booing." And he yells, "I don't give a shit. Do you trust me? Do you this and that?" And so I think this trainer worked on him in Puerto Rico and trying to change his style into this boxer that I don't think he'll ever be. If he can't do it with a kid like, not a kid anymore, but Angulo, I just thought I'd make a call and just I think that this trainer should take a lot of that responsibility, because I thought if Berlanga just went out there and got into a firefight with the older guy, he would have knocked him out, and that's what I was betting on. What do you guys think?
I mean, the trainer was telling him to, he was being acting very alarmed, and there was a lot of, urgency in his voice, and I think it was justified, Dennis. I think he needed to put on a show, because one bad performance, okay, 2 lackluster performance, 3. Don't they always say, the old Italians, they say the death comes in 3s, right? Well, I mean, how many chances this guy's going to get?
It's true. I just think that this trainer he caused a bit of that lackluster performance. I think because he was saying, just stick with the jab and move. What are you doing trying to get out of that pocket? And it was Berlanga who's saying, but they're booing, and he could tell, and that's probably why he was biting and frustrated and everything. I just think that he's a lot more. I thought he would knock Angulo out. Now I'm satisfied that he's just an older hyped prospect, and maybe they should move on to somebody else that they've gotten that. And then and I know they put a lot of money into this kid, but I don't care to keep tuning in. I stayed up pretty late for this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. I regretted staying up. I said, why am I staying? There's the time, like Pete said it a couple of episodes ago, the time is the most precious commodity at some point. It gets to a point in your life when you go, why am I wasting time watching these guys? Berlanga, I'm not going to watch him next time. If he's a main event, I'm going to say, unless he fights a top guy or something that I know for sure he's going to lose, or maybe looks
exactly.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
on board
over,
with that.
It's over, yeah.
I agree.
Well, listen, Dennis, good call, man. And
that's it, guys.
All right, man. Call back next time, all right, man? Good call, as always. Take it easy.
Have a good show, guys. Bye-bye now.
All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Let's go to 484. 484, you're on the air. 484, what's on your mind?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I just want to talk about Berlanga's fight.
Yes.
I did think he won 97-93, but it was a really boring fight for sure. This is a guy who he only fought 16 rounds in his first 16 fights. So, I mean, maybe he's still like developing, but they're trying to push him like he's a top guy in the division, which he clearly isn't. I mean, he's not anywhere close. He's like years away probably from fighting someone like a Benavidez or something like that. So, like I said, I mean, he used his jab, he moved a little bit. I mean, that's something that you never saw from him, just before, after that knockout streak ended. So, I mean, again, maybe he's just like learning still, and I'm not as down on him as other people are, but like they're like I said, they're moving him in a way where it's like he's going to get beaten eventually if they step up the competition, because he's not going to be ready, for like to like for a title eliminator or something like that. I don't think. But I didn't watch Mungia's fight. I'm going to watch that today. How many rounds did that go?
The Mungia fight went 5 rounds, I believe.
Oh, well, that's not too bad. I mean, everyone's saying that this guy gave him hell and stuff like that. I mean, I thought it was like I don't know. I didn't watch that because every time he fights, there's always something else more interesting on. So I'm going to go back and watch that today. But I wanted to ask you guys: did you see Josue Vargas fight on the undercard of Berlanga?
I did not see it, but I heard it didn't turn out well for him again.
Yeah, he got knocked out in the second round by a bum, man. I feel bad for that kid, man. Zepeda really ruined him, man. Like, he's had a few fights since he fought Zepeda, and they've all been like 6 and 8 round fights, and he's looked really gun shy, and he's been stumbled a few times against like really like bad opposition since then. And then now this guy last night put him through the ropes, like literally put him through the ropes and like concussed him. It took him like minutes to get him out of the ring, and then he was still wobbling like when they were getting him out. He got fucked up bad. Like, I felt sorry for that kid, honestly.
I'm surprised Tim Bradley and the rest of the commentary team didn't make fun of him the way they were making fun of that African guy that died a couple of days ago.
Oh, I saw that. That was terrible. Yeah, that was. I mean, did you see like 2 rounds before that? For 2 rounds, Timothy Bradley was joking about how they're smoking weed in the arena, and then it just like, and then the next round he has to like make an apology about this comment that he made about this guy who died of last week, and it just like changed the whole tone of their commentary and stuff. It was really strange. I didn't know that. I mean, I heard someone died recently, but I didn't know the guy was like punching into the corner like at nothing. Like, I went back and watched the video of that after, because there was some controversy about that, and that was terrible. But yeah, I don't know. That's really all I wanted. I was just curious to see if you guys think because this time last year, like Josue Vargas had a lot of hype around him. He was someone that was on the verge of challenging for a title and stuff like that. Yeah. They gave him that big fight with Zepeda. He gets knocked out in the first round, but then there's been such a great fall from grace since then for him. I've really never quite seen anything like it.
He was never really that good. If you watch his win before the Vargas fight, I don't know why Top Rank was pushing him the way they did. Maybe they already knew Zepeda was going to beat him, but he was never that good, and you can see now why he's just not there. He doesn't have anything spectacular. But anyway, listen, we do have to move on to another phone call, but good phone call, good concise points, and call back next time, right, man?
All right, have a good day. Thank you.
You too, man. Thank you. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit that like. Really helps us out, and I do mean it really helps us out, all right? Don't be afraid. And by the way, I'm making light of the Tim Bradley. Obviously, I do think Tim Bradley was unaware that the guy had died, but it's just funny watching people give him shit for it as if he did it sadistically or something on purpose. Anyway, let's go to a phone call here. 346, you're on the air. 346, what's on your mind? 346, you're on the air. Going once?
Oh, hey, what's up, man? It's Logical Man, man. What's up, man?
Oh, Logical Man, what's up,
man? Man, dude, the first part I went to go watch yesterday was the Trevor Bryan versus Dane Dubois. You know, I did it because Dane Dubois, I wanted to see what he's going to do, what's going to happen. Man, I had a lot of hope in Dane Dubois, man, but I could obviously see he's at a certain progress that ain't going nowhere. Trevor Bryan was giving him actual issues. It was really embarrassing to see that. But he knocked his ass out. You know, that was cool and all, but I could see, like, man, this guy right here is limited. You know, Wilder can easily come back and scoop that little regular belt up, probably beat Jojo's ass, too. That's all I was just thinking, man, when I saw that fight. The next fight I was looking at was Mungia versus the Kelly guy. Man, I see why they don't want him to fight Andrade, dude. That guy Kelly is like a great value Andrade, man. He was tagging him good. I said, man, if this dude fight Demetrius Andrade, he getting his ass whooped, dude. Like, he getting knocked down. He getting whooped because that guy Kelly, if you guys are paying attention, he fights like Demetrius Andrade, but like a lower grade.
No, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Okay. Yeah, like a lower grade, but like a lower grade of him, man. Like then, okay, last one, Edgar Berlanga versus Angulo. Edgar Berlanga was, man, that shit was. Hey, look, I did the same thing with the Haney fight. I fucking fell asleep. I was this shit was so boring, man. I forgot. I woke up. Oh shit, who won? What happened? I had to go on YouTube, watch the highlights. That shit was, man. That was the most boring shit ever, and it really threw me off, man. I was listening to his quarter. I fell asleep about the 7th round. He really was talking about that. Hey, this coach said, "Fuck the fans, fuck the fans. Yeah, do what I said, fuck the fans." I'm like, fuck the fans, like. Berlanga got a strong black and Puerto Rican crowd, and like the Puerto Rican crowd, just Puerto Rican come out to support him. But the black crowd he got, it ain't like the black crowd that like the Shakir Stevens. Well, not Shakir Stevenson. I'm gonna say Devin Haney's and the slick style bullshit. They come to see a motherfucker fight. So if they see you not fighting, they not gonna deal with you, man. Like people was really like, boo, they was tired of this shit. They was going to boo him at the end, but because he brought up him being a kid and seeing Cotto, they felt bad for him. Like, oh, he's a kid. Okay, I ain't gonna let him like that. Cause they was about to boo his ass, man. That shit was boring as hell. And if he'd have fought Angola head up, I think he would have got knocked down and maybe lost that fight, man. Because when I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, did you guys see that uppercut Angola did to him? Like he was rocked. Yeah. He went for the Devin Haney UFC takedown.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was frustrated, man, and he tried to play it off as if, well, it's just, you know, I'm trying to fight back with the dirty tactics, but nah, man. And you know what? When it comes to him and the fans, if I would have been Berlanga though, and the fans complained, I would have told him, bite me. Get it? Bite me. But but listen, yeah, man, listen, good call there, Logical Man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
I guess that'd be it. But hey, BBA, hit me up with Boom Boom, man. I'm trying to have that one-on-one with him so we can have that debate. And I can't wait until we have another panel be fully open because I want to talk more about this certain segment because it's just so much more of those fights that show that Berlanga really is a hype job. Mungia is being protected, man. Even Charlo, he's scary clown, but he'll beat Mungia, bro. I'm sorry, man. And Gabe Rosaro will give Edgar Berlanga a run for his money. And I think that, and Daniel Jacobs, even Daniel Jacobs, he fell off, man, but he'll give him Edgar Berlanga a run for his damn money.
That's right. Well, you know what? That's a good point there. Hopefully those fights happen. Hopefully they fight each other. All right, well, listen, Logical Man, good call. Yes, I'm going to try to watch for Boom Boom because, again, he said he left a message in one of your videos. I couldn't find it. I looked for it just out of curiosity, and I couldn't find it. So.
I found it. I finally found it. All he said was, "Oh, you didn't get pay up for a bet." I'm like, "What bet are you talking about?" Just get Side Baby on. We can get this over with because I'm tired of this. But I appreciate you having me on, BDA.
All right. Thank you, Logical Man. Take it easy. Catch you in the next one.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, listen, shout out to everybody that called in for the moment. The phone lines are still open, and don't forget to call in and hit the like. Hit the like, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Just want to put that picture here again of, what was it, Trevor Bryan. Look, listen, Dubois, he knocked out Trevor Bryan. He wasn't a good opponent, Trevor Bryan. But look at that. You have to accept that it was a beautiful left hook, and he left Bryan looking like it looks like Bryan is trying to search for his eye contact or something. You know, when somebody loses eye contact and they get flat on the ground because they think that's the best vantage point. That's what it looks like. Good for Dubois, man. He needed that confidence booster. All right, we got Jimmy dropping by. Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Mr. BDA?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing sensational as well. Jimmy.
Yes.
Let's start with Berlanga. I want to get your thoughts on Berlanga. This guy, Logical Man said he was bored just like with Haney, but at least with Haney, we got an excuse. He's not a big puncher and he's not built for putting pressure on guys. Berlanga is built like a light heavyweight. He punches like one as well, or like a heavyweight. And then he puts on the third lackluster performance. What's going on with him, Jimmy? What were your thoughts on the fight?
Well, first off, the call is right. It was a Logic Man when he was saying what the call. I was shocked. I mean, be honest, Berlanga and Mungia both fall in a category as I have to watch this because I do a boxing show. I wouldn't be watching either one of their fights right now if it wasn't for being on this show, because Mungia, I mean, what has he got, 73 fights? He hasn't fought anybody yet. I mean, that's clear. It's just gotten to the point it's ridiculous. As for Berlanga, you kidding me? Imagine actually spending money to go to see this kid that 4 fights ago was tweeting he's the heaviest puncher in the history of the division. Like, when he was knocking, just spoon-fed people, knocking them out. He was just tweeting some ridiculous shit. He deleted most of those. I tried to find them. I couldn't, but so I think Felix Verdeo has a better chance of becoming the next big Puerto Rican fighter than Berlanga.
Hey,
and he's serving life in prison. So that's how much hope I have on fucking Berlanga. This kid fought what's that?
They still get Shakur Stevenson in his franchise, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, right. You still have, right? So, but no, he that kid he fought too was touching him, hitting him with those uppercuts, and Angulo missed weight. I mean, that kid, he was probably the least athletic brown-skinned person I've ever seen in my life.
Ooh.
I'm just being honest. I mean, what a robotic movement. He had he's just not athletic. There was no athleticism from that kid. And whether he's frustrated, listen, you can listen to your corner. If you're frustrated that bad that you have to bite your opponent because my corner is telling me to do something I don't want to do, fuck you, man. Go out and just throw it. Go caution to the wind and let your hands go. He didn't. Oh, my God. That was so terrible. Imagine just going there and paying you hard-earned money to see this knucklehead fight, and the greatest punch in the history of the division turns into a backfoot boogeyman trying to jab his way to a decision. Like, that was just,
Jimmy, that's the thing,
4 lackluster fights in a row.
You're absolutely right. Imagine paying for this. You could have gone to a knife fight or something in an alley, and you show up to the Mungia fight, and he just doesn't deliver for the 3rd time in a row. Because, Jimmy, this is what I said earlier. Because Timothy Bradley was saying, you guys aren't the ones taking the punches in there, meaning Angulo's a hard puncher, which is fair enough. But what was the excuse for the Steve Rolls fight then? Because he looked just as bad in that one as well.
Yes, he did. It's been unimpressive 4 in a row. If he wasn't under contract, I'm surprised Bob wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if Top Rank cut him. I guarantee they blast him out the first loss he catches, which will be the first time he steps up to anybody in the top 10. They'll cruise Benavidez would end that guy, probably Lemieux style. Like, he just doesn't have it. He's not the kid. This is the problem when you get matched. 2 things. Everybody gets matched soft in the beginning, most everybody. But when you get matched soft in the beginning, but you think that's the guys, like you're thinking the dudes you're fighting, the guys they're handpicking to make you look good. Most guys are under the understanding, okay, these guys are just, this is what they're supposed to do, get knocked out by someone like me. But he thought he was facing, the best fighters in the world because just by his attitude and the things he was saying. But yeah, hanging out with the rap stars and just living the lifestyle like he's that guy, and he's not. Yeah. And there's nothing to do to change that. But fuck his manager, man. Fans can pay that back by just never going to his fights anymore. You know what I mean? Empty crowds, empty seats. That's what he deserves. When you're a known power puncher, when your big thing is the knockout streak, and then you change to a freaking jabbing performance like that. Well, don't be surprised when people stop showing up to your fights.
Jimmy,
would you pay to go see him?
Absolutely not. Jimmy, a lot of callers were calling in. They were saying, I'm never going to, this is the last time I watch him. Bucho said it's the last time he should be on a main event. Relegate him to an undercut again. And I'm not staying up to watch him because it was 12 a.m. here on the East Coast when the main event started. Classic ESPN. And I said, halfway through the fight, I was thinking, man, like you said, I have to stay up to watch this for the show. But if it wasn't for this goddamn show, I think I'd say, you know what? Fuck this fight. I'm going to go to sleep. I already know. Yeah. And if I wake up tomorrow or the next day and I see, maybe Berlanga knocked him out or Angulo knocked him out, I'd be like, all right, it was worth it. It was worth going to sleep. Because like I said, time is a precious commodity. Got no time anymore to watch these type of fights. Just don't. Now, Jimmy.
Exactly.
Here's the thing about Berlanga, though. He's not, listen, okay. In the grand scope of things, he's not that bad a fighter. He has some good defensive moves and all that. It's just like one caller said about Mungia, but I think it could apply to Berlanga as well. He just can't do all those things at the same time, like the next level fighters can. Because you look at when he fought Caceres, Argentinian guy. Okay, at least he beat Caceres up, but he did get dropped and he couldn't stop Caceres. Meanwhile, Billy Joe Saunders, who's no one's idea of a power puncher, he stopped Caceres. Okay, people could let that go. Then he goes up against Steve Rolls, who got stopped by Golovkin, and Berlanga goes in there and can't even hurt Rolls, as far as I remember. Now he faces this guy whom Benavidez butchered, and he can't do anything with him. So it's 3 fights in a row where he's looked worse than the other guys. And I know, look, Benavidez is a monster. He's probably going to be a top 10 guy, pound for pound, one of these days, if he matches up with the best. Golovkin obviously was one of the top 10 pound for pound as well. And Billy Joe Saunders, say what you want about him, but he was a 2-division champ, veteran. But still, it doesn't bode well, right, Jimmy? When you compare those performances with what Berlanga is doing, like, in other words, are we being too harsh, or is it like it is
No.
what it is with this guy?
You're not being too harsh at all. In fact, we're going easy on this guy, especially if this kid didn't come out and say the things. I wish I should have taken screenshots of those tweets. They were insane, some of the stuff that was coming out of his mouth. So he clearly thinks he's the shit. You know what I mean? Like, or at least he did as a power puncher, and he's not. You know what I mean? It's been smoke and mirrors, and every fight out now, it's just another exposure. You know, I mean, imagine what Benavidez would have did to that dude he fought last night. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, but Benavidez would have, if Benavidez fights Berlanga, he takes him out, man. No question about it. Angulo, Berlanga.
I just want to quickly say something here. We're questioning Berlanga's skills, which is understandable. Can we begin to question now his mental strength? Because when he started biting that guy, that just showed me this is the type of guy that's going to start losing his fucking mind as soon as he starts getting into a little bit of trouble. And he was fighting Angulo. Imagine a higher level of if he started fighting higher level opposition, what's he going to start to do if he's in trouble?
Exactly.
I don't think he's I really don't think he's that Puerto Rican guy that we're looking for. And I don't want to see this guy anymore as a main event. They have to stop showing those videos, pre-fight video where like they're showing him as this monster or something. Like, he's not a monster. He's becoming a Keith one-time tournament type of fighter. The knockout's gone. As soon as he started stepping up in opposition, you guys know, better opposition means better chins. This guy does not have that much power. I think he was overrated a little bit, and he needs to go back to the undercard level.
I agree with that, Jimmy. Butch is making some good points. And didn't they? I didn't watch the pre-fight package, but I saw some people commenting on that. Didn't they call in that pre-fight package? Didn't they call Berlanga the chosen one? Something like that. The one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. No, it's bad. I agree 100% everything Bujo just said. I think they should relegate him to, the pay no attention list.
I mean, Jimmy, I understand.
I wouldn't make headline him anyways, for sure.
Yeah, he's just not that entertaining. He's not marquee stuff. And Jimmy, I would have understood if they would have called him the one before the Caceres fight or even afterwards. But now after the Rolls fight, and especially after this one, I mean, it's like Bucho said, what happens when the going gets tough and he has to push the pace? Does he even have the mentality to do that?
No, Bucho's right. He showed weakness. He showed mental weakness by biting, his opponent like that. You know what I mean? Now, and I'm saying, is he looking to get DQ'd? You know what I mean? Because that's not a warning. If you get caught biting someone, if he would have broke skin, he could have got bounced out of there. And then especially coming off the last fight, ESPN's last fight, or Top Rank's last fight, Inoue, to go from Inoue to that, like what two different ends of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Of like actual elite power puncher to somebody who was just, fell in love with his headlines, man, beating up bums, and he thought that was like, he punched his ticket to the Hall of Fame with that. But it's going to be a rough ride for that kid.
Mungia also, he needs to step up. That's for sure. I mean, that's for sure. But he fights with he's aggressive, and I didn't see that with Berlanga. There was no sense of urgency ever throughout those 10 rounds. So I was very disappointed in that. And then he starts losing his mind. That's even worse. I just don't think he's the goods. You know, people were. I saw some tweets on Twitter, obviously, people saying that he can improve and all that shit. I don't know if he can improve. I really don't. Like, how long? When is he gonna start improving, though? This should have been the fight where he shows that he has been improving, though. You know what I mean?
You try to change your fighter's complete. I mean, change his style at 20 pro fights. Okay, now you're gonna become a jabber, a mover. Really? Is that what this guy's plan was? What did he see in training that so no, you're not a power puncher. We got to change you altogether. And then for him to sit there and yell at him about fuck the fans, just, you know what I mean, just go out there and be boring. That doesn't endear you to the crowds. Not when you figuring all the money for people, you buying tickets on the bowl, on the bottom floor. If you count the fucking gas, lodging, and whatever else, you're spending lots of money. It's a very expensive sport to be a patron of, and to be treated or talked like that. Oh, fuck the fans. That's
Jimmy.
I don't know.
When you're called a monster, you're there for the fans, because that monster implies aggressiveness. You know, knockout power. Obviously, when it comes to Berlanga, that's what people were there to watch, to witness. They're not watching. Scary. You don't want to see a guy, on the back foot, throwing a shitty jab, and then having his corner say "fuck the fans." I mean, I cannot believe this happened, to be honest. I can't believe this.
Shocking was.
And then the decision's terrible on top of that. I mean, I think Angulo should have won that fight. This is not going to help Berlanga at all. This is not. What are they going to do with Berlanga now? Like, now change his style again for the second time now? Third time? I don't know how many times I've seen it. It's... what do you think Bob Arum is saying right now, or told Berlanga? What do you think happened?
Who the fuck's idea was it to sign this idiot? It's probably what he's saying, right?
I mean, he's gotta at this point. He's gotta be tired of Berlanga. I don't know how they're gonna get rid of him.
He doesn't give a fuck, huh? He doesn't give a fuck. You guys know at this stage in his life, he doesn't give a fuck, man.
Yeah, this is what he told Berlanga.
You little prick. Yay, prick.
I mean, listen.
Jesus, kid. Fucking, we're gonna call you no-dos.
I still don't know. I'm curious to see who they're gonna throw him in against Berlanga to get him out of the way. Or maybe they still think they can save him. I don't know. Maybe it's like a woman, when she's got a guy and she thinks, he beats her up and everything. She goes, no, but I can still save him. Maybe that's the way Top Rank's acting with
Well, who does Top Rank have coming on the up at 168? Because that's what I would do. Obviously, you don't want to feed him while he still has an undefeated record. You don't want to get another promoter's fighter get shine off that. If he's you want your fighter to beat an undefeated fighter. Exactly. So if he has somebody else like Zerto, if he was still a Top Rank, how much you want to bet that fight would have been? Because even Zerto would beat him. But he's at 175 now too, anyways, right? So that don't matter.
But it's interesting, Jimmy, because Zurdo didn't look good against Angulo either. But at least, he put a little bit of pedal to the metal. He actually backed Angulo up a couple of times. So at least there's that. But Berlanga, there was just one thing, okay, good movement, a good, decent jab. That's it. Nothing that makes you go, whoa. And again, we're spoiled as boxing fans because we get to watch. The guys that we watch on TV generally are the best of the best. So we're spoiled. People don't understand how good those guys really are. Berlanga's not that bad, but he's not on that level. The level that where they call him the chosen one before the fight. Come on. By the way, shout out to Get These Hands for his contribution with Super Chat. He says Gabe Rosado takes Berlanga out right now. Jimmy, what do you think about that? Even though Rosado just
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's barely a gatekeeper level. I mean, because if they think he's going to become a stick and move fighter, he doesn't have that. That's not who he is. That's not a part of his DNA. He's been a scrapper probably since the first day he laid up the gloves. But again, man, this sport exposes you as you get to the top. There's a reason why you weren't having the 14th, 15th fights televised. I mean, Did you ever remember? You would never see guys on HBO with 13 professional fights, 14 professional fights, because you don't want to put money and television time in behind somebody. The minute they step up in competition, they get exposed. It happens. True. It happens. You know how many Berlangas have happened that we don't even know about because they never would have been, televised. It's just because of the thin rosters. Now, anybody with any over 10 wins without a defeat, man, there's a good chance you're getting on TV.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said, Jimmy. It's now that's the modus operandi for a lot of these networks. Like, hey, especially ESPN, they love to put their prospects on the undercards. And with Berlanga, he's no Xander Zayas and he's no Keyshawn Davis. And even those two guys, I'm a little hesitant now. I'm starting to think, okay, let's wait and see how good they really are. Because with Berlanga, he was looking like a monster too early on. And then as soon as he stepped up in competition, whoopsie-daisy. That's what happened.
I think that Zayas is going to get even better. I mean, he's only 19.
That's true.
You know what I mean? He still hasn't even got his man strength yet. When he gets his man strength and he's got the right attitude, he just everything about that kid I like. I really believe he's going to be the next big Puerto Rican fighter.
Jimmy, moving on from this fight, I wanted to bring up something here. Devin Haney he's getting a lot of coverage now because of his undisputed run. And he was on ESPN. I think he was with Max Kellerman earlier in the week as well. Now, he had this to say to Kellerman. Kellerman was talking about a potential Tank Davis fight. And Devin Haney said, I'm not the champion. I am the undisputed champion. Then Kellerman said, Tank Davis has the WBA regular belt, right? And Haney said, throw it in the trash can. Jimmy, isn't that a little bit hypocritical considering how he was going around calling himself champ when he had that WBC belt? That paper belt. It
is and it isn't. It is that fact if he was still just the email champ is what everybody called him. Yeah, that'd be like, all right, dude, but you didn't fight anybody for yours. At least the junior belts, Bonnie belts, whatever you want to call them. But he fought for them. But he is right. He is the undisputed. Like, you don't tell a guy who has all the belts, all of them, including the ring, oh, we got another champion in this division. It's like, then what are we doing here? Is everybody a champion now? I mean, no, he should be referred to. You could say he's a junior title holder, but that needs to be put up front. Right now, Haney, whether you think he's boring or whether, you know what I mean, whatever in your opinion is of him, he is the man at 135. That is his weight class. Because he holds all the belts.
That's a good point, Jimmy. That's a good point. But he was I don't think he was calling Kambosos the real champ beforehand. He was calling himself a champ, even though he had the trash WBC belt. So, I don't know. It's just, it seems a little hypocritical for him.
No, it's definitely a little hypocrite, but I think he's been kind of, and that's why I said from the beginning, bro, I wish he would have never taken that belt. What did it do him? You know what I mean? He would have been getting paid that money from DAZN anyways. I don't know why he took that, because it was going to be nothing but grief going that route. But I'm glad that's out of the way now. They should throw those franchise tags in the trash, because even the guy who owns the frickin', Suleiman couldn't even explain what those are about. But yeah, so that, and again, that fight's not going to happen. I don't ever see Floyd matching him, Davis, with any of these guys. Well, first off, the reason why, most importantly, how is he going to do that now, especially when, he's suddenly, Isaac Cruz did over 200,000 against Isaac Cruz. When you negotiate with Bob, and you're asking for a certain slice of the pie, and you're saying it's because you're far more popular. Look at the pay-per-view numbers. Bob's just not going to take fucking Dan Raphael's word for it. He's going to say, yeah, okay, open up the books. Show me what you pay taxes on. Let me see exactly what you sold. And then he'll know. And it's not like Bob's going to keep it under hat. He'll tell everybody. But Bob's been saying right along that those numbers are overinflated.
And Jimmy, just going back to
going
back to the belt thing with Devin Haney, I read a disturbing tweet the other day. Somebody said that he actually is going to have to pay $600K for all those championship belts with the sanction fee. $600K out of a $2 million payday, I believe, for Haney against Kambosos. That's before taxes. That's before he has to pay his trainer, his manager, his promoter, whatever. $600K. Crazy, right? I can't believe that he has to pay that much for in a perfect world, he should get rid of all those belts and make a statement. Say, I'm the little champ. I call the shots. I don't need these trinkets. But again, he probably needs them. His promoter's probably going to tell him, listen, you need to keep those belts, man. Undisputed. We can put that on the marquee. That's the way it goes.
Well, you're paying that money, right? $600,000, which is ridiculous. Obviously, I agree with you. But membership has its benefits. Like right now, he's the A side. No matter where he fights, he's the undisputed champion. So yeah, it's a curse and it's not, you know what I mean? But now he'll be making more money. But it's the same thing. Well, Cotto did it. Remember when Cotto was like, "What? You want me to pay $600,000 for this WBC belt? See you later." When he threw it in the trash too.
Hey man, we got a nice surprise here. Steve Kim dropping by. Steve, are you there?
Gentlemen, what's going on? Just kind of beginning my workout here on the bicycle, listening in as always. Guys, the Berlanga thing, it's clear to me that he got Rosario'd by Coceres since that knockdown on the Fury Wilder card. And I tell you what's alarming, guys, is that he's not even throwing punches with conviction anymore. He seems very, very afraid to commit to his offense, and he's just trying to eke by. And he's turned into a very, very dull fighter. I thought that fight could have gone either way yesterday, but you kind of know the politics of the whole thing. And trust me, Top Rank knows what they have. They've had their doubts about him for at least a fight or two. I don't think yesterday helped. And really, let's be honest, we all came to see Xander Zayas, and then he got sick. And so basically what happened was that Berlanga, in actuality, was not the main event. He was the walkout bout, because if we would have seen Xander Zayas do what he did, or usually does, I think by the third, fourth round, and many people would have tuned out of that Berlanga fight. That was an absolutely dull contest.
It was, man. Steve, everyone's complaining about it. Well, actually, one caller, he called in and he said that he liked Berlanga. He has that dog inside him, literally, and that we're all going to be surprised in a couple of years. Is he being a little bit too hopeful, you think? Or?
Well, I mean, certainly, I'd like to be proven wrong, because it's always good to have more stars. But, I think there's a real regression there. I've said for a while, and I told this to Mario about 4 or 5 months ago, I don't think this guy has the right priorities. It's always about social media. Hey, Fat Joe, FaceTime me. Come to my after party. And I'm just like, okay, look, and I get it. I'm the old guy now. I'm telling people to get off my lawn. But I've had the belief that he has not had the proper focus. And look, there are certain people in that corner that are no longer there. They got sick of it. They bounced for a reason. They knew what was going on, and they didn't want to be a part of it.
Interesting. Now, see, that just adds fuel to the fire there when it comes to the speculation about what this guy is up to. How does Top Rank solve this issue? What do they do with him?
Well, look, here's the issue. He has a manager named Keith Conley. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's had other fighters. And look, this guy his job as a manager is to get every single dollar out of it. But he does it to a point where if Top Rank wanted to pull back and say, hey, let's keep your guy a little bit more active, but with easier opponents to allow the development, I don't think that's going to happen in this situation. They want as much money as possible, which is fine. They're certainly their right. But do I believe that Berlanga is thought upon by Top Rank? Look, they're under no illusions over what they have. Their Puerto Rican star of the future, knock on wood, is Xander Zayas. And it's like I tweeted out yesterday. They better make sure he never gets sick around April, May, or June ever again. Because what I saw yesterday was a bunch of Puerto Rican jags, just another guy. Orlando Gonzalez was pretty good. The rest of the guys, I didn't see the next Juanma Lopez, let's just put it that way, or Daniel Santos, much less next Cotto or Trinidad. But they know what they have. See, they're under no illusions. Trust me. They have had an understanding of what Berlanga was for at least 6 months. Okay, and yet last night was just a confirmation of what they thought. I think they'd like to just throw him into the deep water and say, okay, get as much money as you want. Let's see what you have here. Because Angulo, and I'm with you, Jimmy, I thought Angulo, he looked like an old 38. It wasn't even a young 38. I mean, I've seen glaciers move faster.
I know.
So would you be surprised if they try to pull a Godfather 2 on Berlanga and he wakes up next to a dead hooker or something and they got to bail him out, and they tell him, listen, no more fights for you. We're going to bail you out, but no more fights. Would you be surprised something like that happens with Berlanga Or maybe.
Well, again, I don't know how they could actually do that. I mean, they do have a contract, and I think the only time you could really pull a guy is if he turns down fights or if he loses a fight. Look, I think Josue Vargas, he should retire, but I believe Top Rank's probably going to release him after last night. That was tough to watch. The problem with Berlanga, I think there's a lot of delusion there. There's not a lot of realism. I don't think it helped when Mark Kriegel was doing his puff pieces on him. And I thought Tim Bradley had the best line of the night on the State of Boxing post-fight show. I think Joe Tessitore asked him, where does Berlanga go from here? And he just goes, nowhere. Oh. And I think that's the consensus. So, I don't – look, when you look at Top Rank's prospects, and that's what largely what Berlanga is. You have to understand, though, his first 12, 13 fights were not with Top Rank. Okay, he started off with other people in the New York area, traveled around for fights. He made his debut, I believe, on the Amir Khan Terrence Crawford pay-per-view card. I was there ringside. I remember looking at this kid's record going, wow, he's 12-0 with 12 knockouts, all first round. And for a while there, he had some shine. But when you look at Top Rank's future, it's really Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason, Tiger Johnson, a young man that I'm going to see live and in person, and I'm very excited to see him, Bruce Carrington. I'm very high on him. Jared Anderson, and then Xander, and maybe a Raymond Murataya, a lightweight out of Riverside, California. Those are the guys with the real future. There's an authenticity to them as fighters, and it's still early for a lot of these kids like Mason, who's just 18 years old, but he's a very grounded individual. And when I look at Berlanga, I see a guy that sees ghosts in there. He was afraid to mix it up. He didn't punch off his front foot a lot. He almost had to be coaxed into fighting hard by the Puerto Rican audience that started to boo. So look, things are what they are. You don't need to be Angelo Dundee to figure out this is not trending in the right direction.
So you're saying he needs to put some more bite in his punches, is what you're saying?
Well, he had more bite in his bite than his punches. I didn't, that was a strange night. By the way, these ESPN broadcasts, boy, they are bizarre. They want to treat every fight like a Super Bowl. You don't need 30 minutes in between each fight, guys.
It's true, man. Yeah. Hey, it was 12 a.m. here by the time in the East Coast by the time the main event started, and everyone was, and I'm not the only one. People were saying, "Why are we staying up to watch this, man? At this point, time is a precious commodity, and we're wasting it away."
And BDA, here's the thing: the way it played out, the zone card actually started at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. They actually switched it up a little bit. And the pacing of that card was pretty good. And by the time Mungia finally got rid of Kilrain Kelly, it was about 7:45 Pacific time. So it just was perfect, because if you were a boxing fan that was going to invest your whole night into watching both cards, it was perfect because the zone went off the air well before 8. The Tampa Bay Lightning held on to beat the Rangers so that we didn't have one of those 5 overtime NHL games. So that you could get plenty of time. You weren't going to get preempted. And then right at 8 o'clock, ESPN went on the air from New York. But, I mean, it's honestly, the way they treat boxing, it's almost like, hey, we're going to bring you all these pre-fight features and talking heads. And you know what? We're going to throw in a little boxing once in a while. God, dog, guys, get the show moving.
Yeah, it was meandering is the way to term it. Steve, I wanted to ask you something. Naoya Inoue destroyed Nonito Donaire in that rematch last week, and you talked about it in your latest column about how you'd been talking about Inoue being pound for pound number 1, and then COVID happened, and whatever happened there. Now, Ring Magazine has him back. Well, actually, they have him number 1 now, and that's causing quite a stir here in the YouTube boxing community. Some people are saying he doesn't deserve it. What do you think? Like, does he deserve pound for pound number 1 over Crawford and Usyk?
Look, I think it's those 3 guys. One of the flaws of the pound for pound list is that everyone thinks it always has to be 10 people. I don't. I think sometimes a pound for pound list can be 2 guys, either Pacquiao or Mayweather, like a decade ago. I didn't think you didn't even need to list number 3. Mm-hmm. It was such a wide gap between those 2 and everybody else. And I was with some boxing people a couple nights ago. We have a monthly dinner at Field Trainings, and one of the guys there is Rudy Hernandez, the brother of the late great Janar Hernandez, old school trainer, one of the great boxing minds that I know of. And we came to a conclusion. Basically, it's Inoue, Usyk, and Crawford, and maybe one other guy, and that's it. That's the elite. Everyone else, you're just filling out a list. Because sometimes when you get to 7, 8, 9, and 10, you're just kind of throwing guys on and you're just arbitrarily putting on a name for whatever reason. But in my view, those three have really separated themselves from everybody else in terms of their accomplishments. They've moved up in weight. They've probably been the best fighter at multiple weight classes. I think Inoue is no worse than second or third. As I quoted Bum Phillips about Earl Campbell, he may not be in a class by himself. However, it don't take long to call roll. And I've said this, the one thing about Inoue that is impressive is that he blows out guys that have never been stopped, or he stops them quicker than anybody else. He just absolutely obliterates guys. And the same people that were calling Nonito Donaire old on Tuesday certainly weren't calling him old when he was on PBC Showtime shows. It's really funny how that thing works out. But, my hope is, and I told this to Top Rank on that day and a day or two earlier. I spoke to a couple people. They may have the best fighter in the world. Now you got to promote them. I don't think look. There's been COVID restrictions. Japan is still very restrictive, from what I understand, and it hasn't been easy. That's certainly a factor. It's not an excuse. It's a factor. But they got to get him out there more. And in my view, he fought 2 rounds last Tuesday. I would try to get him out there twice more. He's a smaller fighter. He's a foreigner in America, but he's one of these fighters that I believe that a lot of boxing fans now, wherever he fights, they will make the pilgrimage to see him live. And so hopefully the Paul Butler fight can take place in the late summer. I think most people expect him to win that fight. And then you look at the options at 122, what's out there. Stephen Fulton says he wants to certainly be undisputed, and I think that's completely fair. Mirjan Akhmadaliev has to fight Ronnie Rios here in about 3 weeks. I think that's going to be a pretty tough fight. So, but the thing is, if you go back to 2020, just as Inoue was about to make his stateside debut on April 25th of that year against Casimero, and that would have been a unification bout, everything got shut down. And it's almost like a year and a half for that career to regain his bearings. Think about it, guys. Basically, Inoue has fought in the bubble. He fought the Filipino guy, and I think he fought Maloney, both in the bubble. He has not had a chance yet to really fight under the Top Rank banner in front of a live audience. And going back to the Casimero fight, that was going to be at the Mandalay Bay on NFL Draft Weekend of 2020. And according to Jim Boone of KO Tickets, who when he gives me info, it's solid. He said, Steve, that was a hot ticket.
Whoa.
All that Japanese high rollers and whales were coming out, and various casinos were placing orders on that fight. I actually believe he's a bigger name, and there's more buzz now 2 years later. So as they say, gentlemen, strike while the iron is hot.
That's right. That katana iron is red hot right now. Now,
and
go ahead, Jimmy. Yeah.
No, finish what you're saying. I'll come in after you.
I was going to ask a question about that, but go.
Okay, well, I was going to agree with everything what you're saying, Steve. I've been high on Inoue. I'm in the same. I was with the COVID and the way he was. I was getting worried because it seemed like they were putting him on the ignore list. But one thing I don't like, I try to stay away from Twitter because it's such a cesspool of stupidity. And, you see people in there saying, and and usually if you go through the thread, they usually admit they've never even seen him fight. They don't know anybody's fought. But they'll come around and say, who does he fight? He's fought nobody's. And you're like, what are you talking about? Just at bantamweight.
Yeah, I mean,
if you just take a cursory look, like,
when these people say, well, I don't know who he is, and this, and I said, great, so you want to judge him off your ignorance, not my knowledge, your ignorance.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to play that game. Honestly, I have more faith in my knowledge and in my intelligence than your ignorance. Hate to be that way. Sorry about it. I'm going to be arrogant here, but just because you don't know shit, don't drag me down to your level. That's what you're trying to say. That's what I'm saying, Jimmy.
That's so excellent. And, and of course, like, well, I'll go over for people listeners don't understand. Since he went to bantamweight, the first person he fought was McDonald, who was the WBA champion and number 2 ranked by Ring Magazine. Obliterated him in the first round. Second, Pagnano, 5th ranked by the board in the world, blasted him out in the first round. And then he fought Ring Magazine's number 3 ranked. Ring Magazine in the transition board had him ranked 3. Blew him out in the second round. And look what he did to Donaire, who I don't think has ever been stopped with headshots like that, especially that soon into a fight. This kid is legit power in both hands, and he's not that power puncher who has to have his feet in a certain position to hurt you. He can hit you even when he's a little off balance and hurt you, because he throws everything with when he decides to throw with hard punch. He's excellent. I'm
Jimmy,
super high on that kid. Yes.
One of his best victories that it's not really talked about, I think it was the first round of the World Boxing Super Series. He blew out Omar Narvaez, who in over 45 fights had never been close to being stopped. In fact, Narvaez went the distance with a prime Nonito Donaire. When Donaire was considered one of the top 3 fighters in the world, coming off a Fighter of the Year campaign or somewhere around that time, Donaire just stopped trying to knock him out halfway through the fight and just settled for a very boring victory. I was stunned. I thought that fight would go rounds. He got him out of there in like 1 or 2 rounds, just starched him with his unbelievable right hand. That's another one of his victories that you look at. He won't get a lot of credit for it, but if you actually research just how tough Narvaez is with that high guard, he's your typically tough Argentine fighter, very well conditioned, very hard nosed. He just like laid him out. And so that's the thing, I think he's very close to, I think the Butler fight will happen, but I'd like to say Top Rank do their job. If you have the next mini Pacquiao, that's what you want to call him, all right, get him out here. I told this to someone at Top Rank, guys, if you want to take the shine off this, give him to me in 7 months. That's how you're going to stop the momentum. Do your job, Really, it's not rocket science here.
Yeah, it's simple. It might not be easy to do, trying to get him some fights at 122, whatever, but it's simple. Now, Steve, I got some people are taking umbrage, just to show you how important a lot of people have the pound for pound list. A lot of people have umbrage that you mentioned Canelo when you talked about the top 3 guys. What do you think about that? You think Canelo's still...
Canelo, that's an interesting one since he got blanked his last fight. If you want to put him as... I still think he's number 5 or 6. But the reality is he also did lose his last fight. But, weight classes matter. But be honest, if all 4 guys were the same weight and all the variables were equal out of Inoue, Usyk, and Crawford, right now, would Canelo be anything better than 3rd or 4th? That's all I'm saying. Is look, this is no disrespect to Canelo, who's been incredible as face of boxing. Maybe the best overall resume the last 5-6 years. But when you do pound for pound, which I really don't, but when you ask me right now, on the day of January, or was it June 10th, 11th, or 12th, who are the top 5 fighters? Yeah, Canelo might be in there, but my top 3 in any order would be Usyk, Crawford, Inoue. That's all I'm saying.
It's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's just, people, like I said, people take their pound for pound list seriously, man. They find holes in a person's list and they just go after it. Now, Steve, you had... Oh, go ahead, Jimmy, yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to ask Steve, what doesn't help the situation is when you have other professional fighters like Shakur Stevenson, with the big eyeballs. How could you have Inoue above, Errol Spence? And it's are you kidding me? You can't even. That's such a ridiculous comparison when you look at just achievements, the level of competition he stopped. Like you just said, guys, he has stopped. Rodriguez was another one, had never even been off his feet, and he starched him in the 2nd round. I mean, you take all that into consideration. You'd be silly not to. So when you get guys like Shakur doing that, it just feeds the beast. Gets the bottom feeders riled up.
Shakur's a young kid. I don't think he's probably never even heard of Inoue till maybe last year. But, one of the things that I do is when there's a guy like Inoue, and when I go to the gym or I talk to people, I always confer with the trainers. And you don't have to quote them. You don't have to really do an official interview. But I just ask them off the record, what do you think of this guy? And you try to get some confirmation on what you think or a dissenting opinion that makes you rethink your perception of a guy. And I can honestly say this, when you go to the gyms where the real trainers are that actually watch the game and they don't play this whole political bias, he is one of those rare guys that everyone says, yeah, that guy is a killer. And there's a great deal of respect from people within the industry about Inoue.
Yeah, right. You know what? I was a little hesitant to jump on the Inoue train years ago. And I was actually waiting for that first Donaire fight before I say, let's see because I wanted to see how he would handle a guy that could take his power and give it right back to him. And he showed everything I wanted to see in that first fight. And now, anyone's still doubting him, I think they need to watch more of his fights. Steve, I wanted to ask you something. You had Joe Goosen on your show with Mario Lopez. First of all, was that filmed way a long time ago?
Yeah, that was. What happened was Mario was out of town this past week, so we had to time it out where we actually taped that 2 Fridays ago. So a couple of things like Ryan Garcia against Javier Fortuna was not official, so we couldn't really talk about it. It hadn't been announced by Golden Boy. So I think that interview took place about 13 days ago. Even though the show was fresh and new last Wednesday, it was actually taped about 10 days before then.
Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to ask you because Joe Goosen, you guys were talking to him about how a trainer has to be part physical trainer, part psychologist, and all that. And I think also the part missing was a trainer has to be part PR person. Did you get the feeling at any point during that interview that maybe Joe Goosen was trying to boost Garcia up with that thing that he's running to spar partners, all that? Or you think there's a truth to the fact that Garcia really is that good and he just needs to get focused?
Look, I know this. I know the guy that he broke the jaw of has been on television. If I told you the name, you guys would recognize him. That did happen. Look, Ryan is talented physically. I think he's very flawed fundamentally. I think he makes a lot of mistakes from a technical standpoint, but he's explosive. He's a great athlete. There's no doubt about it. He's very reflexive. He's very fast, quick, twitchy mechanism in there, right? But fundamentally, he makes a lot of mistakes. And I've always said the first 6 minutes of a Ryan Garcia fight make you hold your breath. And then if it gets to the middle rounds, you start to get drowsy because he runs out of ideas. That's what Joe Goosen has to battle against. How do you make him a steadier fighter all the way around? And certain guys are good in the gym. Jimmy, you've been at the gym. Look, there are certain guys that look like Supermen with 16-ounce gloves and headgear. There's a lot of stories of fighters who look better than famous world champions that get the best of them in the gym, but they freeze up and they're not quite the same guy once you have 8 to 10 ounce gloves and you're wearing nothing more than a pair of shorts. It's different. It'll be interesting. Javier Fortuna, steady old pro, probably a little long in the tooth. He's probably going to be more willing to fight than Emmanuel Tagoe, who I thought was embarrassing. I mean, honest, I don't put all of that on Ryan Garcia. But you're right. Most trainers, look, they like to keep their jobs. They're not. There's going to be very few trainers until they leave a guy that are going to actually trash people and be honest. And Joe is a very media savvy individual, and he's a very forthright individual. I've known Joe very well for at least 25 years. He's great with the media, gives what you want, and part of his job, like he'll tell you, he's a psychologist. I need to go out there and have this guy believe that he can do things that he doesn't think he can do yet. And I hope, and look, I actually think it's a good sign that Ryan is now training in Van Nuys at the 10 Goose gym. They're not making Joe go to San Diego. Joe's going to be in his element. So I take that as a positive, but I just hope that Ryan Garcia understands, for as flashy as he is, he's not very good fundamentally. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, go ahead, Jimmy. Yeah.
I'll just say he keeps his head up on a platter, up in the air, and it's hands down low and flat-footed. Yeah, I mean, it's so right. You're right. You watch him, like, you're holding your breath, because somebody who can any accuracy with decent power punch is going to be all over that.
Right, and Jimmy, one thing that he does, and he does that Cobra bag or the fast reflex, whatever they call it. He's good at it. He's probably the best I've ever seen, because no one's ever worked at it as much as he has. But one thing about that thing, and I actually saw it yesterday. It was in the far corner. I worked out at 10 Goose yesterday. But one thing about doing that particular bag, you never move your feet. Everything's about upper body movement and being quick with your upper body movements and your hands. You never move your feet. And when you watch Ryan Garcia, the one thing he doesn't do well, and it's very evident, he doesn't step behind his jab and stick with it and come forward and then set up a right hand. He doesn't do it well. You have to practice weight shifting and balance and how to move inside the ring. That's why Rudy Hernandez, his big thing is shadow boxing. I mean, he's literally told me he's gotten young fighters, and he says for 2 months you're doing nothing but shadow boxing. I won't even wrap your hands until you understand how to step and move and glide and slide your feet properly. I won't even let you hit the heavy bag to you. I mean, seriously, Rudy literally breaks it down and distills it to that base raw level. And every good fighter that I've seen, or the really elite ones, guys, and I've seen them in the gym, and it's not glamorous and it can be boring and monotonous. They take shadow boxing very seriously. And I've told this to younger fighters. Do not use shadow boxing as a way to warm up. It's not a way to just break a sweat. It is an actual drill. From the time you start and that your first foot hits that canvas in the ring, it's a drill. Your training starts right there. It's not glamorous. You'll never put up on social media, but shadow boxing should be the foundation of everything in my view.
All the great fighters I know, well, no, a lot personally, but even Marvin Hagler, that's the first thing he would do. He got in the gym, wrap up, and shadow box. He would shadow box until he had a good glistening sweat going before he did anything else. He did that, until he got a good sweat. It was never set time, just till he felt warmed up. But you're right about practice players and star players in the game. And that transcends all sports. There's guys like that in hockey, baseball. Just they don't do the same thing. It doesn't translate into the game. But so
yeah, I mean, so just go watch Ryan Garcia. He's really good at countering you and timing you with that lead left hook. He's lethal with it. But that's when his feet are planted and set. When he has to reset his feet and reestablish a base by moving, I'm telling you, he struggles a little bit. And he's a good athlete, but he's not good at sliding and stepping behind his jab and then throwing a good right hand. I'm just telling you, and that's the thing. And those are the things that take a lot of drilling. And the Cobra bag, if I was Joe and I'm not, and he's trained a lot more world champs than I have, I would tell him, look, you can do the Cobra bag. Let's do a little bit more of my stuff. It works.
Yeah, man, that's a good point. It's Ryan Garcia. He did apparently in the amateurs. Again, it's just 3 rounds, but apparently he got the better of Virgil Ortiz and who had Devin Haney. So apparently he's got skills for at least 3 rounds. Outbox these guys. Then again, those guys have obviously improved since then. But hopefully he improves. I'm curious, Steve. Who are some of the other guys you said that take the shadow boxing seriously?
Oh, Golovkin. Golovkin would go there for 25 minutes and just shadow box. And he was very serious with it. And a drill that I've incorporated, and Rudy Hernandez does it too. A great workout is just shadow boxing for 20, 30 minutes and just having 2-pound or 3-pound dumbbells in your hand to create a little bit more strength and stamina in your shoulders and back. It's a great workout. And you could do it anywhere you want. You don't need a boxing ring. But at the Abel Sanchez gym, when that first bell rings and fighters step in, they put their shoes and their gear on, they're shadow boxing for a good 25, 30 minutes. Another guy that really does a lot of shadow boxing and really works on his footwork is B-Ball. B-Ball does a lot of that in and out movement. And he keeps it simple, guys. When he works mitts, and I've seen this, I put some footage up, him and his trainer, Gennady Mashinov, they will literally work on the same combination, which is a very simple one, usually a 1-1-2. They'll do the same thing for about 15, 20 minutes. They won't even really layer in a left hook. They just want to keep it very simple to what they can actually execute in a fight. Bernard Hopkins, I've seen him a few times in the gym. And Doug Fisher's been there. And Bernard is very serious, or was very serious, about his shadow boxing, about just having just a nice, solid foundation underneath his feet. Manny Pacquiao, his shadow boxing was a little bit different. He would really accentuate trying to be quick. I mean, it was amazing. I've never seen a fighter with that much energy for 2.5 hours the way Manny had it.
Jeez.
He would wrap his own hands every day. He'd get stretched out a little bit. But he would literally do like 15, 16 rounds on the mitt, sometimes nonstop with Freddie. And then he would do a shadow boxing thing where he would really try to be as fast as possible. And he would do it for a round or two. That was pretty remarkable to see. We actually put a lot of footage up there when I was at Max Boxing years ago. So this game has not changed. In my view, you can do a lot of different drills in boxing. The game has not changed. Rudy Hernandez told me over dinner, and he's an old school guy. He was a fighter. As a kid, he got in there with Alexis Arguello and Tommy Hearns. That's how good he was. He actually won the first Schlitz or Stroh's tournament at the Forum way back in the early 80s. So he could fight. And, he says, Steve, as a trainer, I don't believe in any of that strength and conditioning shit. He goes, here's my strength and conditioning program. Shadow boxing, heavy bag, sparring, and don't eat too much. That's it. He goes, that's it. It's really, and look, I think that's a little harsh. I actually think most guys kind of need some help with that and nutrition and strength and conditioning. But he keeps it simple, guys. The formula has not changed.
Yeah, that's interesting. And would it be fair to say too, and I hate to be cliche, but would it be fair to say that a lot of these guys, the reason why they don't improve or don't get to that high pound for pound consistent levels is because they just don't love boxing? They just want to get out of the gym as quickly as possible?
That's an interesting part. I have a theory. I don't think they fight enough. And Joe Goosen kind of backed it up. I have a theory. Again, if you're under the age of 25 and you don't have 25 to 30 fights, you can't be stuck at just 2 fights a year and think you're going to ever really maximize your potential or be able to be marketed enough to become a star. Now, if you're 35 years old and you have 40 fights, I get it. You're going to fight twice a year. That's the way it works. But as a young fighter, there used to be a time, if you look at the box recs of guys like Marvin Hagler, Buddy McGirt, guys of that nature, they fought a lot more. And they fought almost monthly sometimes. So it's a different ball game. That's why it's hard to compare guys from the 40s and 50s to fighters today. They may be better athletes today. They might be flashier. They might be faster. But I have a question. Could today's fighters literally fight once every 2 weeks and 15-round fights and weighing in the morning of? There are variables that go both ways here.
Exactly. And it was actually one time Marvin Hagler, I think he had 9 fights in 14 months or some crazy thing like that earlier on in his career. And it's true. My thing on the mitts, that drives me crazy. It has for years now. I call it the choreographed mitt dancing. When your trainer is breathing heavier than you at the end of the fucking session, there's a problem.
You know what's funny, guys? I've been going to Joe Goosen's gym for at least 20 years now. I've seen him probably work less than 10 rounds of mitts. I don't even remember the last time he put a pair of pads on. And it's funny with Rudy Hernandez. He's so old school. Like, he'll watch, we follow each other on Facebook. There's a lot of boxing discussions with our group. And someone will put a social media posting of some elaborate 88 punch combination. And his comment will be, what a waste of time. He'll just leave it at that.
Well, there was the middleweight, the kid from England, Chris Eubank. He used to put up those. You know what I mean? He would look, hitting the mitts. But Hagler, thinking back, I used to go watch him train. I didn't remember seeing him hit the mitts almost. I don't even know if I ever even seen him hit mitts. His thing was the heavy bag. He would swing it back and forth, which is, the way to do. First off, you can hit it harder. You don't have to worry about, bending arms back, whatnot. Yeah, I don't. Mitts are all right to a certain extent, but I think you get everything you can get out of hitting mitts from a good old heavy bag.
Yeah, Rudy Hernandez, his 1 day of strength and conditioning, I've actually done it. And it's a shadow boxing routine where he'll have 5 or 6 fighters inside the ring. I did it at the Maywood Boxing Club. This was about 5 years ago. He'll have his fighters all have 2 or 3 pound hand weights, the dumbbells, and shadow box for a round. But he'll call out a time where for 30 seconds you have to throw your hands as fast as possible. And then he'll slow it down. And then the last 20 seconds, he actually wants you to hold your breath and throws, man. And he does about 8-9 rounds of this. And he came up with this program because when he was working with Mike Alvarado for the rematch with Brandon Rios, when they turned the tables, one of those days, Alvarado's right hand was bothering him. And he said, I got to figure out a way to keep this guy interested. And we need to work out. And he said, Steve, it's easier on the hands. We don't always need to hit everything. So that's a strength and conditioning program. It's just like 10 rounds of shadow boxing at different paces with 2-3 pound dumbbells. There are days when I can't go to the gym and I have to go downstairs here to work out. I'll actually do that. Just get your cell phone, put on the timer, put it to 3 minutes, and eventually you'll work up a sweat. And it's a great full body workout. And that's the whole thing. When I see a lot of these trainers, if they're not stressing shadow boxing early on, I just don't know if they're actually teaching these guys everything. And look, the game, I'll say it again, the game has not changed in 120 years.
That's a good point.
And do you agree that it's also best if you do it in front of a mirror so you can watch your form, watch your balance? Yeah. That's how I always want.
Generally try to do it. Right. And, you try to do it and try to create such good sound habits that every single movement becomes second nature. But again, a lot of trainers, they love the mitts. But because it's funny, think about it, guys. Of all the boxers that put up their social media accounts, their training footage, not a lot of them put on shadow boxing. They'll always put on the mitts, they'll put on some heavy bag, they'll put on some sparring, the double end bag, which is something that Joe Goosen uses a lot. They don't really, but they love the mitts. The mitts get a lot. Think about it. Think of how Ryan Garcia got popular. It was because of that Cobra bag. That's how he got popular about 5-6 years ago. And I give him credit. He's been good at it. He's milked it for all it's worth. And, he's turned himself into an entity. And, we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, I got to get going on my workout here. I just wanted to check in with you guys. I'll keep listening.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you for dropping by, man.
Anytime. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, and hey, good job on that Joe Goosen interview. That was fantastic, man. It went by too fast. I got to tell you. But yeah, you can check out Steve over at on Twitter. Steve Kim at 323 at Steve. Sorry, I always say Steve Kim at. It should be that goes to show you I don't know much about Twitter, but it's at Steve Kim 323 at Steve Kim 323. You can also check him out on K9's Corner at snack.com. He's got that show with Mario Lopez too. You can follow on iTunes and any other podcast platform. The 3 Knockdown Rule, and you can check him out over at The Blaze with Jason Whitlock as well. So shout out to Steve. Always appreciate him dropping by. And it's true, Jimmy, would you prefer to say that it's Mayweather who popularized the media workout rather, and we never really got to see him actually training? It was all just flash for the cameras.
Yeah, exactly. And Davis is another one. His trainer, they put on these, 27 punch combination mid things, but you see, and if you actually look, there's actual more movement in the trainer by bringing his hands around and almost smacking the dude's fist. Like the fight is barely even moving. It becomes so obvious. And all right, example, I'll use him all the time. Chris Eubank Jr., man, that dude on them mitts, everybody was tweeting out those mitts. Look at those hand speed. Look at the combinations, and then he gets into the fight and all of a sudden, wow, these mitts in the ring hit back.
Exactly.
And so it's a lot of, it's ridiculous. There's a lot. That's what happens. It's a 120-year-old sport. People are always trying to reinvent the wheel. They're always trying to figure, well, just because if they were doing it 70 years ago, that means, it has to be changed. There's got to be a better way to do it because of technology. But sometimes it is what it is. Shadow box, heavy bag, speed bag. Those 3 things, I think you basically, jump rope. And if you want balance, I like to do the string or rope across the turnbuckle. That teaches kids to keep their heads up. It's kind of a boring, thing to do, but it works for that.
Boxing, like any other type of creative endeavor, because it is a creative endeavor, it's about a lot of repetition, and some guys don't have the patience for that. And so
in whatever sport you have to do it dazed. Any other sport, you get cracked hard in the head. They blow the whistle. They get the trainer out to look at you. Boxing, like MMA too, that's another sport. Does it? It's the one sport that you're supposed to perform hurt, like physically hurt, like or even concussed. Whereas every other sport, they blow dead, go to the replays. This guy getting suspended and fined for a head hit. So these guys got to perform under the worst type of conditions. And if it's not secondary, like, all right, Toro Gotti, 9th round. I don't remember that round. I don't remember coming out. I don't remember until I saw it live. Like he says, I didn't remember any of it because he was so rocked and physically exhausted. So they're fighting completely on instinct. And how do you develop instinct is repetition. You don't instinctively do something that you haven't done 1,000 times. So that's what they do. Yeah. They go on instinct. So that's the importance of it.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these people that think, I'm going to get in the ring and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But it's the first time. If you've never done it before, you've never boxed before, and you think you're going to do all that, and then you get tired easily. Very easy to get tired. The more tired you get, as you know, Jimmy, the more your technique goes out the window. So it's a hard sport.
More susceptible to get knocked out. And that's the funny thing you said that too, because everybody I introduced to boxing when I was young, I used to bring guys down to the gym from either school, it was after school, wherever I was working. You want to go down to the gym? And that's the first thing. These guys, whether they were good athletes, played men's leagues, doing whatever, holy shit, I'm exhausted, or like they're over there sucking wind, and they'd say, 3 minutes, bro, and they're like a minute 20 into it, and they're like, holy shit, you got 2 more minutes? Like, you have, like, people just don't get it, how exhausting it is to be in there. There's nothing else. It's a lonely sport.
Can be hellish, but it is fun. It absolutely is fun. Hey, let's go to a phone call here real quick, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
520, you're on the air. 520, what's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I was at the Jaime Mungia fight yesterday. The environment was nice, but the fight was kind of whack. You know, I do want him to fight better oppositions. Of course, I was able to get the 3 knockdowns on video, so that was cool. You know, I think, my honest opinion, I like Jaime Mungia, but if he was to fight Jamal Charlo, which I completely hate, I like Mel, but I think Mal would beat Jaime the way he was fighting last night, to be honest. So he definitely needs to improve. You know, he was taking too many shots to the head. He was getting hit too many times, and that was from somebody that was ranked 8 with the WBO. So yeah, I'm not sure that he hangs with any of the 3 champions at middleweight, even though yesterday was a super middleweight at 168. Because I was at the fight, I wasn't able to really see Berlanga fight, just a little bit, but you know, like, I've been seeing and hearing that everything has been trashed, that he tried to bite the guy. Like, I don't even know how he won.
Wait, so you didn't? The fact that you didn't watch the fact that you didn't watch the fight means you're a very lucky individual. I'll just put it that way.
But Jaime did call out Charlo at the end of the night. We'll see what, you know, if that comes through. But like I said, he has to, you know, step up his game, have better movement, better footwork. He was depending on his strength way too much for that. And for somebody that has you know, top skill and things like that, like Triple G or even, you know, Boo Boo Andre, like, it's going to be a difficult match for him if he's fighting the way he fought versus Kelly yesterday.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Hey, listen, we got a lot of other phone calls, and the phone lines are about to close. So let me just ask you one last question. Were there any interesting fist fights in the crowd at the Mungia fight?
No fist fights. It was like just heavily Mexican crowd, so everybody was going for Mungia.
All right. Well, okay, good for you. Hey, if you're on the PDA Discord, try to post some photographs. I'd be looking forward to look at some of them. The environment in that fight.
Yeah. I'll post up the video of the knockout. It's like 1 minute and 20 seconds long. But one thing that I did want to say is that I do feel like Usyk is still number 1 and Inoue is number 2. I just, you know, I don't like the narrative of like people still talking about Haney and talking about Bud and Crawford when we have so many fights in between. You know, people didn't pay much attention to Fulton last weekend or Inoue, even Beterbiev and Smith that's coming up next weekend. You know, nobody's talking about them. And yeah, I love Spence. You know, I personally think he's going to beat Crawford, but you know, like, that's just so far away that, you know, I want to be concentrating on the fights that are right now, because there are a lot of lit fights that are coming through, and, you know, people are not paying attention because of Haney or any of these other matches. So just wanted to, you know, show some love towards them. I think Fulton could become undisputed the way he scored Ramon. You know, so he's a very good fighter. I put him on my top 10. But yeah, just want to give a shout out to BDA, the rest of the panel, everybody in the chat. You know, whether we agree or disagree, one thing that we could agree is that we love boxing. So, you know, that's what it's all about.
Hey, very well said.
Hey, everybody.
You too, man. 520. Very good call. Call back next time. Very well said. All right.
Good call.
Let's move on to another phone call here. Let's go to 956. You're on the air. 956. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? Hey, Luis, LT. Fuck, I was about to say my whole fucking address and shit.
Yeah, don't do that, man.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. I don't know if that's a good thing.
First of all, bro, I don't believe not one fucking word, bro, about your last caller at 50, whatever the fuck it was, bro. Let's be real, bro. He sounded like he was a fucking paid agent by the PBC or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I
honestly, right. Man, honestly.
Hey, well, what'd you think?
I mean, that's, you know. Come again.
What'd you think about Berlanga?
Look, man, fucking Berlanga's a fucking joke, bro.
Oh.
That's why they're fucking killing the sport, man. They're fucking killing the sport, bro. Can you fucking believe Berlanga was clinching now?
Berlanga clinching. Bro, I've been telling you, man. I've been telling y'all, man. Fucking clinching is like a fucking pandemic now, bro. It's like the fucking coronavirus. Now they're clinching everywhere, bro. These American fighters, bro, they're fucking ruining the fucking sport. They found a way, bro, to rig the fucking system, bro. If you go back then, bro, none of the old school fighters would clinch. They would clinch like once in a blue moon. Now everybody's trying to clinch, bro. Bro, what the fuck is happening with the fucking sport? I am so disappointed. ESPN is on a mission, bro. They're on a fucking mission to kill the fucking sport, bro. And to add that shit, bro, they fucking put Devin Haney, bro, on the same fucking camera angle as Berlanga when they fucking gave him. They raised his fucking hand, bro. Like if for some fucking reason putting Devin Haney, the clinch master, is gonna validate that fucking robbery, bro. Seriously. Oh well, Bob Arrow is in the fucking picture. Oh yeah, and Bill Haney and Devin Haney. Bro, fuck out of here, bro. These motherfuckers are rigging the fucking sport. What a fucking disaster is fucking going on. It's like they don't fucking care. That's fucking ridiculous. I'm sick of that shit.
Man, LT, always LT. Hold on a second, I gotta play this, man.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I gotta tell you, LT always brings the fire, man. LT, you're absolutely right. Hey, what'd you think of the scorecards on top of that, too? The Berlanga scorecards.
Bro, what the fuck were they watching, bro? It's like if the motherfuckers left for lunch and shit, came back, and the fucking scorecards were already made. Like, seriously, bro? What the fuck? Bro, it's fucking ridiculous, bro. I swear to God, bro, my 5-year-old nephew that's blind can fucking make fucking better scorecards than that shit. Not gonna fucking lie.
Man, LT, I don't know what else to ask you. I think you said it all, man. Jeez, Louise.
Bro, let me go and I'm fucking... Yo, and shout out to fucking Mungia, bro. Mungia did his fucking thing, man. Bro, people are saying, oh, well, Mungia fucked up and, you know, he got hit a lot. Yo, that's fucking Mungia, all right? Wake the fuck up. Mungia got a lot of shit from his fucking last fight. Because he said, when he fought in Tijuana, Mungia got a lot of shit. They were saying, well, we knew that his opponent didn't belong in the ring with Mungia, and Mungia got him out of there in 2 fucking rounds. 2 fucking rounds, bro. Give us a fucking show. Give us a fucking show. Okay, now this comes to this fight, and Mungia gives us a fucking fight. You know, he gives us, entertains the crowd. He knows that motherfucker didn't belong in the ring with him. So what does he do? He played with the fucking food. He played with his food. Bro, that's ridiculous. Oh, he got clipped too much. Bro, that's Mungia style, bro. Mungia didn't felt nothing, bro. That motherfucker has an iron chin. He was just waiting that motherfucker to fucking get careless and then catch him. That's Mungia, bro. Well, I mean, what more can I say? You know what I mean? Right. Give us a great show, a highlight reel. That's, bro, look, man, when fucking Berlanga was fighting Rolly Romero, with Berlanga. When fucking Tank Davis was fighting Rolly Romero, bro, what was Tank doing? You know, he was playing with his food, making sure he gets a nice highlight reel. That's eventually it, man. It's just the same fucking shit. Mungia don't give a fuck whether he loses a couple of rounds. He just wants to catch you and fucking knock your ass out. And that was the game plan, and that was it, man. Simple. Shout out to Mungia, bro. What a great fucking champion, bro. Even though he doesn't have a belt. But, man, he'll fuck up Charlo any fucking day. Any fucking day. Because, first of all, bro, Charlo went a distance with fucking Montiel. And fucking and Mungia knocked that motherfucker out like in 5 rounds or some shit. Can't remember either.
Hey, by the way, real quick, I gotta tell the people who are waiting online, the phone lines are about to close. Yeah, the phone lines are about to close in 10 seconds. So what I'm gonna do is stay on the line, or actually stay on the line. I'm gonna reopen the phone lines just for you guys, and we're gonna go through the phone calls. But LT, we gotta go. I gotta restart the phone lines. But hey,
thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Saludos a toda la raza que está en el chat. Ahí estamos. Woo!
Ahí estamos. Órale, man. He brought out the gasoline, man, for this one. Fucking LT. Nobody does it like him. All right. Oh no, actually, you know what? Stay on the line. Stay on the line. I think I can still go through the phone lines. Hold on a second. Let's see. 650. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think I can still take the phone calls. It's just nobody can call in. It's just the people are. All right, 650. We're on there, man. What's up?
You talking about Jose Vargas yet?
Yeah. We touched on it, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think his dad needs to get taken away by CPS yelling at his kids like that after the fight.
You think he's abusing him by putting him out? Yeah.
That was pretty fucked up, like he wasn't all there and his dad's just yelling at him. Yeah, it was kind of messed up. But anyway, I just want to talk about Fury and that message he sent out. I do think that's completely true, and I just think Fury just wants to control the narrative. So he just said, yeah, that's not true, but obviously it's true. That source is pretty credible, and it makes sense because Qatar and Saudi Arabia have been at war for like 5 years, and if Saudi Arabia could, pull the play anyway away from the World Cup in December, that sounds like a great idea. Saudi Arabia would dump loads of cash for Fury for the fight to take some kind of hype away from Qatar.
Well, listen, those people over there in Saudi Arabia, they're dumping loads on women and everything. So yeah, they would dump money, whatever it takes to get that fight done. That's for sure, man. You're talking about, by the way,
the whole Qatar. Yeah.
Just give people some. I
was going to say
context.
The whole.
Real quick. Just to give people the context is that you're saying Fury is said that he's going to fight. That the report was that Fury is going to fight the winner of Usyk Joshua, and then he came out. He said, "No, that's a load of rubbish." That's what you were referring to.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So you think
exactly? Yeah, and I just think the Saudi. Say that again.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the Saudi Arabia, Qatar. That's just my theory, but I do think Saudi Arabia is going to try to do something because they've been at war with Qatar for a very long time, with just a financial warfare, trying to I don't know. They've been stealing the television stations from Qatar and broadcasting them in Saudi Arabia, for instance. A lot of weird shit, shady shit. Saudi Arabia is pro-Sunni and Qatar is pro-Shiite. So Qatar goes with Iran. Saudi Arabia goes with every other Sunni country. So they're going to try. They dump shit tons of money for Fury AJ to go on because they hate that the World Cup is happening in Qatar. Trust me.
Interesting. There's a little bit of golf jealousy.
That's just my
there.
theory. It could all be fake. That's just my theory. It could all be fake, but I don't know.
Well, let's see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Listen, 650, very good call. You opened up a lot of eyes in terms of this issue here. I hadn't heard any of that, so good call, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man?
Right on. Later, DDA.
Right on, man. Keep on rocking. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 661. 661, you're on the air. 661, what's up?
What up, cuh? So I want to agree with LT and respond to the first caller as well. He said that Jaime Munguia has a low IQ. I disagree. I think Jaime Munguia really wasn't struggling. It only lasted 5 rounds. He got touched up a little bit, but that's boxing. Then he made the adjustments, started going to the body, started breaking him down. We seen it, and he just laid him out with an uppercut. Great performance by Jaime Munguia. He did what he had to do. I just think that there's too many Mexicans dominating the sport already, so they want him to lose. So it could be like another Mikey Garcia type of situation where the Spaniard comes around and beats the Mexican, so they could feel proud about it. They wanted him to lose, but he did what he had to do. And as far as the Edward Berlanga stuff, I get why people are criticizing him because he's hyped up. The thing is, it's another Gervonta Tank Davis situation. He got into the hip hop world. Lil Wayne shouted him out, and the fame comes with it. And Gervonta Tank Davis as well. He got lucky, you can say. They marketed him, and most of Gervonta Tank Davis's fans don't know about boxing. They're just race fans. They're they're there for the ego. He knocked out, and take pride. But they don't really know about boxing. So that's what that's about. And Jake Paul as well. Every single Jake Paul fight we've seen has been rigged. From the Ben Askren, he threw that. The Tyrone Woodley stuff, rigged as it gets. Even during the press conference, not the press, before the fight with Tyrone Woodley, I think it was the second one. He's like, it's time, and he gave him a Rolex. it's time for him to get knocked out. And they were all laughing about it because they know the population is so dumb they could just laugh like that at people's faces. But it was in the contract to Tyron Woodley get knocked out.
Is it the China haters? Is it the China haters that fell for that mostly?
No, humanity as a whole, really, the whole population. You know, it was rigged for real. Before the fight, before the second fight, they had an interview, and he's like, "It's time." And he's like, "What's time?" And then he pulls out the Rolex. It's time for you to get knocked out. So he gifted him a Rolex and gave him a fat paycheck to knock him out and hype him up.
Jimmy, go ahead.
So hey, Jake Paul's another famous boxer, but it's all it's a business, really.
All right, Jimmy.
No, I was just going to say how much you think it costs somebody to sell their integrity or like their because that's for all he did in MMA, you know what I mean? For what he accomplished in MMA, that's what he's going to be known for the rest of his life. People talk Tyron Woodley, though, remember him face first. I mean, the memes of him laying face first. Yeah, it was the most meme sports thing last year, when he was laying face first on the canvas. People around him said he was so depressed about getting knocked out that, was it the first one? He was very upset about it, or so I can imagine the second one. I don't know, man. I believe there's people throw fights, but to get knocked out, I don't know, man. That's a good question. The thing is, I'd have to charge someone a lot of money to sell my integrity like that.
Yeah, I mean, most people would take that, get knocked out by Jake Paul for the money he made. And plus, the UFC is another hype train corporation that they make it out to seem like it's bigger than what it really is. But boxing is bigger than UFC will ever be. And it's clear every fighter that comes around calls out Dana White for not paying them. But it's so big, it's so hype. Well, that's what promotion does. But 100%, those Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul fights were rigged, 100%.
All right, well, listen.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. To the first caller as well, he said Jaime Munguia has a low IQ. He really doesn't. He was doing good that fight, and Jaime Munguia will knock out you, your whole family. So his IQ really isn't that low, right? But good looking, BDA. Peace.
All right, take it easy, Fighter Spirit. Thank you for your call, man. Call back next time. All right, check out the Fighter Spirit's channel, by the way. Fighter Spirit, it's a weird name because he's got a 3 instead of an E. But check out Let's Be Real Entertainment too. That's his other non-boxing channel. I think that's the one that he really wants people to check out. And if you can't find it, go on the BDA Discord. You'll find it there. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 505. 505, you're on the air. 505, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Sammy calling back. I made a prediction against Kambosos and Haney. I was way off. I was saying that I believe Kambosos had more heart, but man, off of the get-go from not making weight, I think he gassed himself up for Tio, and it makes sense when he was saying that Haney was telling him about all his problems or whatever, even though that was public news. It makes sense now that he gassed himself up and talked himself into that. Because against the Haney fight, he didn't show any heart, in my opinion. He didn't. I don't know, man. He should have made it dirty. And when I say that, just like in the inside fighting or something, but he was trying to. I don't know what he was trying to do. Throw a haymaker, knock him out like he was Mike Tyson or something. But yeah, all that goes to say, I don't know, man. I don't feel like we should support like Haney, or when I say we, I don't know. I just the boxing community to support Haney and Shakur, man, because that style of fighting is going to just continue to perpetuate like the whole Mayweather fighting style, man. And that I don't know, man. I don't. If we have champions like that, that's what everybody's gonna keep fighting. Nobody's gonna want to take risks with losing or taking challenges, and we're just gonna continue to have the same style. And I just wanted to make that point. And then Berlanga, I don't know, man. I thought he lost the last fight, and then I thought he lost this one too. But I don't know, man. Top Rank is turning out to be like a joke nowadays.
No.
And then Mungia. I don't know. I just like to see him use jab more. I don't know if he doesn't work on that or he just doesn't like it or something. But I think he'd be a lot better if just incorporate the jab. I feel like he'd open those uppercuts and body shots a lot easier. But it's an entertaining fight. I'd rather have that, even though people are going to critique him for taking shots, I guess, I'd rather have that than just like jab and clinch, because the clinching is just getting out of hand. You know?
Yeah, the clinching is. We need to do something about it. We need to step up as boxing fans and activists and say enough is enough. We no more clinching. Clinching. If once we equate clinching with sexual assault, then people are going to start paying attention to it. The liberals, the left. But for the moment, they just think it's all fun and games. Haha, it's part of boxing. No, it's not part of boxing. It's against the rules. So 505. We do have to move on to another call, but thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Have yourself a good Sunday. All right, then let's go to the final call of the day. 415. You're on the air. 415. What's on your mind?
All right, I finally got on. Hey, so just a few points. One other caller was saying about boxing being a business, and I'm saying we didn't have a Puerto Rican star for a long time, and Puerto Rican's huge in the boxing history. They tried it with Juanma Lopez, and he was supposed to fight Gamboa. He fought Salido, and, you know, the Puerto Rican narrative, you know, like to try to get the history of boxing back, didn't happen. They tried it with Berlanga. They're trying it with Berlanga, and you know he had a really good amateur career in America. And you know they found out he's Puerto Rican, rose him, gave him soft touches, and it turned out to be really the worst thing for him because he didn't get any experience out of it. He's a good fundamental boxer, but you know with amateur pedigree. But, you know, he got soft touches and he fell in love with, you know, just first-round knockouts. And he didn't learn anything. You know, 16 fights, 16 first-round knockouts. You don't learn.
That's
the
true.
Other point I wanted to say as far as the clinching, you know, to me it started with John Ruiz, the heavyweight champion. He used to call him jab and grab. And, you know, it's a safe success, if I could say that. And, you know, fighters are doing that now. You know, jab, grab, and it's ruining the sport, really. What's your thoughts on my opinions?
You're absolutely right. You're preaching to the choir when it comes to the clinching. Enough is enough with the clinching. Enough is enough. And listen, some prospects are going to falter, some are going to succeed, but it's as paying customers, we have more than enough right to be able to say this guy sucks, this guy doesn't. I'm fed up with this idea of the noble idea that these boxers should all be praised because they get through the ropes. Listen. Anyone can walk through the ropes. Really, anyone. Some people say, well, no, it takes courage. Yeah, but then what about the courage of how you actually perform once you get through those ropes?
Right.
That makes a difference too, and a lot of people don't get it.
100%.
So 415, when people tell you, you should criticize the fighters, you tell them, well, look, I'm an everyday man. I give my hard-earned money to watch these guys fight, and then when they don't deliver, and some of them actually say, fuck the fans afterwards. They say, hey, I'm the one taking the risk, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're taking risks too, shelling out hard-earned money. It's my opinion, 415.
It's the truth. Hey, my final closing thing I wanted to say is congratulations to Juan Manuel Marquez for making the Hall of Fame. To me, true boxing champion, wins, losses. He got losses. And that's the other thing I wanted to say. A lot of these fighters don't want to have a loss, and they don't want to challenge themselves. Someone like Juan Manuel Marquez, he challenged himself. If you watch the first Pacquiao fight, guy had 3 knockdowns in the first round. Came out, to me, I thought he won the fight. Broken nose, the whole thing. True champion, and well-deserved on the Hall of Fame.
That's right. You're absolutely right. That's Juan Manuel Marquez deserves it. He turned out to be a bit of a prick afterwards, but he's nonetheless, as a boxer, he deserves every inch of those, or every ounce of those accolades that he's getting. So 4-on-5, good call. Good call to finish up the Sunday here. And call back next time, Raman. Take it easy.
And I don't blame the call is 100% right. These fighters, but then again, if you just listen to, I mean, just callers a call here. I mean, just a caller a few callers ago, you know, Lomachenko doesn't belong on the list because he has 2 losses. Like, are you serious? Like, it's just but it's who he's fighting. You know what I mean? If he's fighting all the best guys, putting himself up against the best, he's going to have losses. If there were just 2 losses in a row, yes. In actuality, yeah, he shouldn't be on the list right now. I would agree because he doesn't have a championship belt. I think those should be held for champions. Like, I think sometimes, like Steve said, they're just fillers. they add names because they think they have to. I think you should just put the guys. It should be a criteria. You should be able to have. You have to have a belt, but to count somebody's losses, it's the same thing. I feel it's on the same lines with Inoue. When you hear people talk about his competition, who has he fought? It's like Steve said perfectly. So I'll go with my knowledge over your ignorance of the situation. Like even Friday, Mirage, a bad guy, but he was sitting there saying he called Salido some nobody bum. Not a two-time, two-division champion and one of the best inside fighters of this era. You know what I mean?
Wait, you're talking about the Australian dude from on the Fridays?
Yeah.
Well, he said he's only been watching boxing on and off. Like he doesn't catch it. So his knowledge of boxing.
I remember him last, but that's very popular sentiment. He's the last person I remember who said it. But a lot of people hear that all the time. Well, he lost twice. How was he even that good? He lost twice. It's like, but they don't put in nuance like he barely lost.
And by the way,
barely lost.
I guess then yes. Jermel Charlo then he's never going to be an all-time great because he got 2 losses. He should have 2 losses, but he has 1 official loss and 1 that he should have lost against Castaño. So I guess he'll never be an all-time great.
Exactly. It's just such a silly argument.
Well, listen. With that being said, we do have to go. It was a nice early. I sort of caught you off guard a little bit there, right, Jimmy? Because I started at 11:45 instead of 12, as we usually do on Sundays. But hey, listen, glad you could drop by, Jimmy. Always appreciate having you on. Always good talking to you. Shout out to Steve Kim.
Actually, in the shower was my wife who called. She said, "Jimmy, I think you got a show." I'm like, "Give me a towel." That's when I jumped out and got on, man. I got to go wash the rest of the soap out of my hair, I think.
Oh, geez, Luis. Yeah. Well, listen, good to talk to you, and shout out to everybody that was who called, everybody who donated with the super chat. Always appreciate it, guys. Shout out to Steve Kim for dropping by as always. Don't forget you can check him out over at snack.com at Steve Kim 323 on Twitter. The Blaze over with Jason Whitlock, and of course the 3 Knockdown Rule with Mario Lopez in any of the major podcast platforms. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about King Bucho in there, 1 Foot at the Door. Shout out to 1 Foot, Stuart Dolls, Abe, Eparukua. I saw Rex in there. Shout out to Rex. What about me? Mr. Holmes, Sicario, Campos Vasquez, Pugilism, Tupac, Anthony Clay, Don Ramon Champ, Iceman. Shout out to the Iceman. Shout out to 1 Foot at the Door, like I said. The Quags. Shout out to the Quags and everybody else, guys. You know who you are. If I forgot to mention you, because we do have to go. We'll read some communiques next time. Communiques. We're running out of time. Sorry, fellas. Catch you in the next one. Hey, we'll be back this week to talk about the... Hey, if you guys thought last night's Top Rank card wasn't good, I think they're going to deliver next week. They've got 2 solid fights on that one. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you on the next one. All right, fellas? Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
Disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry.